Hey buddies, welcome to a chill stream. Haven't had a really chill stream since I stopped playing Octopath Traveler. So I'm gonna be making my way through the tutorials today on Dreams. Becky's not gonna be here, this is just boring old tutorial work. But we'll probably be joined by more kitties. The kitties seem to be in a better mood whenever Becky is downstairs and they can bounce between us up and down. Lyle Lovett, Caliber Entertainment. Oh, I have the OBS icon up there. I'll fix that up. So, on the last episode we did a couple tutorials and then I got pretty overwhelmed and then I moved on to just browsing through some content. Today we'll see where it goes. I'm gonna start with tutorials though. I just wanna start learning a bit more, figuring out how all this works. Becky's downstairs. She's gonna be hanging out with you guys in the chat. Oh, what's all this? I leveled up again. Yay. Tutorials. So I'm going to go into tutorial 2 under Start Dreaming. Eventually I'm going to get a motion controller. I'm probably going to go buy the VR bundle with the motion controllers eventually. We sold ours before we left Vancouver, so we'll be rebuying it here, obviously. Mark Cerny, and I should actually do a vlog about this because E3 is approaching and I usually start to do vlogs about stuff, my predictions and stuff as that approaches. He did say that the PSVR is going to be compatible with PS5. The same headset will be compatible with PS5. Though I have a feeling there's going to be an updated headset when the PS5 comes out. That's my, I think, premonition. Let's jump in. And this game's going to get VR support eventually, which is going to, for things like sculpting and painting, that's going to be incredible. All right, Start Dreaming Part 2. Placing platforms, moving things around, and making things bigger and smaller can be useful. Here you can discover secret shortcuts and rotate the objects easily. All right, let's go.
Now you've got the hang of moving things around in edit mode, it's time to master manipulating objects. Just as well, because Connie's friend Cuthbert fell asleep in the Dreamiverse and got stranded.
Connie,
yes, he's a cube with legs. Connie didn't choose her friends. I did. So, we need to fix these platforms if she's going to reach the flag and get to Cuthbert. Before we start, you can switch to play mode to see how a player would experience this scene. You'll always need to test things out in play mode while dream shaping, so it's a good habit to get into.
One thing that should be mentioned when it comes to the... Jesus Christ, you guys are really lacing into fucking Cuthbert. Fucking fuckbert. Pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, one of the things that I should mention, since, again, people are always looking for my bias, I can tell you another bad thing about, I think I've talked about the PlayStation motion controllers. Bonus points on the fact that motion controllers, they have them, right? Unlike the Xbox. However, without the aid of the PlayStation Eye, and I think this is because of the lack of the PlayStation Eye, if it's just using motion, the motion tracking is floaty. It gets uncalibrated really quickly. You've probably seen me when I'm typing stuff in with the motion controls, constantly having to reset my reticle. It's not very good. It drifts a lot, which is weird because there's been so many systems in the past released with better motion controls.
Press the options button, then select play mode with X. Its icon looks like a controller.
Alright, so I can't
Once you're in
jump,
play mode,
obviously.
take control of Connie with R2, and we'll see how far she can go.
I can't get any further
Start
than
by
this, you
jumping
fucking
over
asshole.
to the
You
first
knew
platform.
it. You knew I would fail.
Oh dear. Looks like it's too far for Connie. Move that first platform closer.
Go back to edit mode.
To do that, head back into edit mode.
So I know how to
So,
do a lot of this stuff,
open
but
the
like
options menu
it's
and
pretty
select the
simple,
button
but I
with the
want to keep
pencil
on doing the
icon.
tutorials because I don't want to miss like some
Once
critical
you're in edit
thing.
mode, move on to the next step.
How do you go up? There it is, up and down. Okay, I'll press the next step.
We have to do something about these platforms if Connie's gonna reach the other side.
Oh, you can just flip.
First, let's get a good look at them. Move your view side on to Connie and the first pink platform. Don't forget, you can hold L1 while using the left stick
There we
to
go,
strafe
realign.
up and down. See the dotted outlines? That's where the platforms should be. So let's put them in place with the Move tool. The imp has this equipped by default. To move things, hover the tip of your imp over them and press and hold R2.
Oh, so it aligns to the grid when you press
Move it
align.
where you want it and release R2. Try it now with the first movable platform.
Wow, I'm way
Grab
ahead
it
of this
with
fucker.
R2, slide
Alright.
it over so it lines up with the pin. Use the left stick to move the action by pressing the left. That's because they're auto. You don't need to
Wait,
worry.
what did he say?
That's because their auto guide gadgets are disabled by default in the guides menu.
Ah.
I'll explain more about this in another tutorial, but for the next step.
Alright.
Now that the first platform's in position, let's test it out. Open the options menu and select play mode with X.
Alright.
Do, and see if she can jump over the gap now.
Yeah.
Back and edit things again.
Alright.
From the options menu.
Okay.
And passes when you're in play mode. And the scene doesn't rewind automatically when you return to edit mode.
Ah.
Instead, things will be frozen in the state you left them when you were playing. Always keep this in mind when switching modes. Doing this won't reset any changes you made in edit mode. See, Connie is back to her starting position, but the platform remains where you left it. Try
What do
to
I
get
press
into
to do
the
what he's
habit
saying?
of rewinding time after you play scenes.
How do you rewind time?
That way, you'll avoid
I missed
any
that
problems.
critical step.
There are times when it's useful to
He'll
leave things
probably
as they are
tutorialize
after
it again
playing,
and again.
but when in doubt,
L3?
rewind.
Ah,
Okay.
there it goes.
If your
Thank
platform's
you.
in the right place and you've had a successful test run with Connie, you can move on to the next step.
Move on to the next step.
Let's sort
What are you
out the
doing?
next platform now. It's the middle one that's lying on its side. Before you can match it up with the outline, you'll need to stand it upright. So you'll have to rotate it first. You can rotate objects
Oh,
in edit mode
Jesus,
by
come
grabbing
on.
them. Can rotate different directions depending on how you push the sticks.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about tilting your controller. If you bear in mind that your imp's tip is at the center point of the
Your
rotation,
imp's tip.
so you can grab the platform at different points and see how it affects the
Oh,
rotation.
that's nice to know. Yeah, it like rotates around wherever you grabbed it from.
All that rotating has made the platform a bit wonky. So let's undo all that with the left directional button and start again.
Undo.
Grab and hold L2 over the platform.
Yeah.
This time, grab the platform with R2. So you
Wait a minute. L2? What?
This time, grab the platform with R2, so you can move it into the
Oh,
matching blue
L2's
outline.
rotate. Oh.
Remember, holding
Yeah.
R2 more softly will let you move the platform with more precision.
You can just clone things
And
by...
if you're feeling really adventurous, you can try rotating it with the touchpad too.
Oh.
That's quite a lot of buttons to remember, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if you ever forget what to press, just look at the prompts around your imp. Or select the mode icon in the top left of the screen with X. They'll show you what buttons you can use in any situation. Practice rotating things with L2 until you're comfortable. Then move on to the next step.
All right.
Now that you know how to rotate objects, Here's a useful tip. When you rotate something by hand, like this platform, it might end up a little wonky.
You said that.
But there's a really simple way of fixing that.
You said triangle. We did this.
You can realign objects by grabbing them with L2 or R2 and then pressing triangle.
Yeah, you did. I thought you were going to tell me a different way to do it.
This will snap whatever shape you do delete something by accident. Remember, you can undo your mistake by pressing the controller icon in the options menu. And possess Connie to see how far she can get.
Yeah, well, it's pretty obvious where she's going to stop, isn't it, you twat?
You're almost there now.
Sorry.
Just switch back to edit mode and fix that final platform.
You Brits will know that that's just as good a word as
Remember to rewind time with L3. Now we can go on to the next step. Now the only thing separating Connie from Cuthbert is the final platform. Oh, it looks a bit small compared to the others. I'm not sure Connie will be able to use it, no matter how much you rotate it. Let's learn how to make objects bigger, or as we dream shapers say, scale them up. Hover over the final platform now, and hold the up directional button to make it bigger. The square on the floor tells you what size the platform's base needs to be. It's also a good idea to get the top of the platform level with all the others. Remember how the imp was the center point of a rotation earlier?
Yeah.
Well, here its position determines where the object scales from.
Oh.
Try hovering over the platform, and if it gets too tall, you can just hold the down directional button to shrink it.
This is really rough on me because I'm a tinkerer. I just jump into things and start doing them, but I don't know, I feel like...
Okay, when everything is where it should be, if I was on my own, go into play mode.
I would just tinker forever before I even went in, and there would be some obvious things that I just wouldn't understand forever that I'd finally like give in and look up in the tutorial or online, and I'd be like, I probably would have learned that like first step or something, but
and go to the next step.
It's one of my hobbies is tinkering without reading the instructions, but I know that on the show I would get no slack from the audience about not knowing a thing that I could have learned.
Connie and Cuthbert have been reunited, but now they need to find a way out before Cuthbert falls asleep again. So let's learn how to find a door in the Dreamiverse. Go to the assembly menu, which is the row of buttons at the top of the screen.
All right. How do you get that shit again?
The assembly menu disappears when you're busy working on a scene.
Okay.
To make sure it doesn't get in the way.
How do you get back?
So if you can't see it, just press square to open it.
Assembly.
Here you'll find all the assembly tools, modes, and gadgets. If you ever...
Check out more info on it. My biggest issue is that there's no way to freeze the camera in place.
Wonder what a button does? Just hover over it for a few seconds to see more info.
But I mean, it's frozen in place when you don't press the R3 or the stick, right? Or
it's the one with the magnifying glass. Select it now with X.
We're looking for a door.
The search button takes you to the Dreamiverse, where you'll find all the things created by dreamers from around the world. But for this tutorial, I've selected a collection of elements that you can use in this scene. Let's see if we can find a door in the Start Dreaming collection. Select it with X. Have a look around. What elements do we have here in the collection? There it is. A door. Select it with X now. Now that it's on your imp, you can scale it with the up and down directional buttons, or rotate it with L2 or the touchpad. See the outline at the top of the final platform? That's where the door needs to go. Use R2 or X to stamp it into place. You should know this isn't just any door. It's a very special one.
Oops.
Because of the animation and logic built into it, it will magically open when Connie goes near it. Notice how your imp still has a door attached even after you've stamped it down? That's what happens with elements from the Dreamiverse. That way, you can place as many as you need in a scene. We only need one door in this scene though, so you can remove the door element from your imp by pressing circle. The circle button removes whatever tool, gadget or element your imp has equipped. I think we're done here. Nice work completing the scene. It doesn't mean you have to stop though. If you're feeling creative, why not come up with different ways for Connie to get across the platforms, using more elements from the collection? Just delete the old platforms with triangle and build your own.
No.
All that's left now is to switch to play mode and walk Connie straight through the door to end this tutorial.
Alright. And then they fucked. I'm sorry, Media Molecule. Now I'm all self-conscious that they might be watching at any given time. They're too wholesome for this world. Want to create objects and okay, we'll just go in and no doubt he's gonna say a million things that explain what it is.
Now you know how to grab, rotate and scale objects. It's time I showed you how to clone things. Cuthbert has managed to get himself stuck
Cuthbert,
again.
you piece of shit.
Luckily, I've set up this scene so that we can use the clone tool to rescue him.
Your Hitler levels
With
of
this
terrible.
tool, you can make exact copies of anything in the scene. This makes it one of the most useful tools in a Dreamshaper's toolbox.
Hi, buddy.
You'll also get a chance to practice with all the other tools that you've learned so far. If we get Connie off this platform, maybe she'll help us out. Let's use the clone tool on this one small block to create a bridge. Remember how we used the L1 button to modify how the grab cam and the left stick work?
Yeah.
Well, it can also change how the grab button works. Hover over the floating block with your imp and hold L1. Now grab the block with R2. And remember that if you press it gently, you can move it more slowly.
Oh, really?
Now you have another block.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
I like
because
that.
grabbing things while holding L1 creates a clone of that object.
Oh, that's great that they put that in there.
Once you've created the
That
clone,
slow
you can
move.
release L1, but don't let go of R2 until you're ready to place it in the scene. When you've found the right spot, release R2 to put it down. You can treat a cloned object just like you would any other element. You can move it with R2 and rotate it with L2. And scale it up and down with the directional buttons.
Yeah.
Of course, anything you do to the block can be undone with the left directional button. You can even clone the cloned block. Let's do that next. Hover over it, hold L1, then press and hold R2.
I think I know where all this is
You
going.
can use the clone tool to build a bridge between the first two platforms.
Yeah.
Or you can create floating blocks for Connie to jump on. All that matters is that she can get to the next platform. So make sure you test your work in play mode. When Connie can get across, go back to edit mode, rewind time with L3, and move on to the next step.
All right.
Getting Connie to that third platform looks easy enough. There's half a bridge between them, so we can just clone this block to finish it off.
Not quite. It'll have to be rotated too.
Okay, hold L1
Oops.
and grab the block with R2 to clone it. Let go of L1 to stop cloning, then place the clone by releasing R2 to complete the bridge.
But it looks bad.
That doesn't look quite right.
Yeah.
Might need to try something different here.
No. Yeah.
Why don't we rotate the clone? Hold L2 over it.
Don't need to
then
rotate
push
it,
the
just
right
flipped
stick
it, you
sideways.
Fuck. Why am I in this mood?
Well, it's better, but now they don't match.
What? Wait, am I on
We
the wrong
should
side?
probably undo everything with the left directional button.
They
and start
fucking
again.
match.
This time, we'll make the arches match up by
Can I
flipping
skip the
clone.
next 2 minutes?
Here's how
But I
you
might
flip
miss something
objects.
critical hidden within the
First,
tutorial.
hover over the arch and hold L1.
Huh? Yeah.
Then gently grab the arch with R2 to create a clone. Remember, release L1 once you've made
We
the
just
clone.
had a nice calm
You have
walk.
to release it or the next part won't
Becky
work.
kept on trying to make it
Here
all
comes the
action
cool bit.
packed.
While still holding the arch, click the L3 button on your controller to flip the arch
Making jokes about
horizontally.
bugs. And
That's
shit.
all there is to it.
She
Now
was
you
the
try.
sassy one
Hold
on the walk.
L1 and grab the arch with R2 to clone it. Release L1 and flip the arch horizontally by clicking L3.
What you doing, man?
And don't forget, you can realign the clone while you're holding it by pressing the triangle button.
Yeah.
Now, let's see what happens if you click R3.
Yeah.
Nice! The arch is flipped vertically instead. We should probably line it up with the first arch now, and release R2 to place it down. Ah! We probably should have flipped it back first. No problem. Just grab it with R2 and flip it again with R3. Time to switch over to play mode and see how things are working.
Alright. Really?
If
all
Connie
that-
can get across the bridge to the third platform, you're ready to move on.
Oh, okay. Yikes.
Okay, Connie, we've almost made it to the door. Ah, but she needs to go across and up now. Good thing you already know how to make clones because we're gonna need them.
Yeah, good thing.
So hold L1 and grab the block with R2 to clone it. Now place that clone a little higher than the original. And you know what? There's a better way, so let's undo that with the left directional button.
Huh?
We're going to try a new technique called repeat cloning. I bet you can already guess what it does.
No.
That's right. It lets you make lots of clones at once. Let's give it a go.
Computer place celery, man.
Hover over the block again, hold L1 and press and hold R2. Release L1 once you've made the clone. And move the block up and along. Don't put it down yet though. This is where you become a cloning expert. Without letting go of the first clone, press the right directional button to create a second one. And, you guessed it, another press will create a third
Oh, wow. What?
one. In fact, you can just keep
What?
pressing right to create more
Oh,
and more
that's
clones
smart.
in a sequence.
That's a great tool.
And if you make too many, no problem. Just press the left directional button to remove any clones you don't want. As
And now
you can
it's-
see, all the clones are spaced
Hey, so these are
evenly,
grouped.
and you can move the whole sequence
Is
by
grouping
simply
easy
moving
in
the clone
this?
that's on your
Obviously,
imp.
groups have to exist, right? In order to make, like...
If you move the clone up, you can create a staircase. As always, put it down by releasing R2. Once the clones are in place, they won't be in a sequence anymore. You'll have to edit each block individually.
Oh, they're not placed
See the
yet?
dotted line around them? That's a selection.
Oh.
When you put repeat clones down, they're always selected automatically. That means you can move them as a group.
Uh-huh.
If you only want to move one block, you can deselect the group by pressing circle. If you want to find out more, there's a whole tutorial on selecting and grouping objects. Move on to the next step when you're...
Gotcha. What are you doing down there, bud? Why don't you hop up here or on
Let's
my
get
lap?
back to the staircase. It's looking pretty good, but I have one more thing to show you before you move on.
Huh?
Let's get rid of all the clones we've made
Oh,
by pressing the
all that
left
work.
directional button a few times.
Fuck.
You'll notice all the repeated clones are undone together. Now hover over the first block, hold L1, then grab it to create a new clone. Remember to release L1 once you've made the clone, otherwise the next bit won't work. This time, move the block where you want the last step of the staircase to be. There, right in front of the door. Don't let go of R2 yet though.
My finger
Instead,
hurts.
press the left directional button and look at that. You've created a sequence of clones between your imp and the original block. You can keep
exactly
pressing
what we
left
just...
to create more steps or right to remove them.
Isn't that
Once you're happy with your staircase, let go of R2
exactly
to place it
what
in
I
the scene.
did?
You can create incredible shapes with repeat cloning, so feel free to experiment. How you position the first clone will affect all the repeated clones. Rotating the clones, for example, will let you build
Now I don't even
ramps
know
and
how to go out
spirals.
from the last. I don't even know how to do the other way now.
And
Whoa.
if you scale the clone
Wait,
with
did
the
you
up
see that?
button,
Did you see what he just did? What the fuck is this shit? How did you...
and if you scale the clone, will affect all the...
What? Wait, okay.
You can create incredible shapes with repeat cloning, so feel free to experiment. How you position the first clone will affect all the repeated clones. Rotating the clones, for example, will let you build ramps and spirals. And if you scale the clone with the up button, you can create a sequence that increases in size. So try different approaches and see what you can come up with.
That's called tweening.
If the path is clear for Connie, switch over to play mode to test the scene. Get Connie to the final platform, then get her to open the door for Cuthbert. If you feel like you've mastered cloning and flipping, walk Connie through the door to complete the tutorial. Good work.
How do I rotate again without using the pad that... How do I... That rotates the camera. Huh? L2. Ah, there it goes. Yeah, that's how I do it. Okay, yeah. Wow. I don't know how to... Okay, I see. Oh. That's neat. Okay. This is the shittiest easy-ass game I've ever played. Who did the level design? Oh, it was me. How you doing, pal? Oh. Next. Start Dreaming Part 4.
Welcome to part 4 of our Start Dreaming tutorials. Ah, I see Cuthbert has managed to get himself in a pickle again. Connie, how do you put up with him?
Oh
What a
dear.
spanner. But with Connie's help, we can rescue him. This time around, I'll show you how to select and group your creations and how to scope in and out of groups. Luckily, someone left behind a block for us to use. Remember how to repeat clone blocks to create a bridge? Well, let's do that again. Move your view side on to the block and the gap. Hold L1, then grab the block with R2. Move it with the motion sensor function to create a clone.
Wait, why are you going up?
Just like last time, let go of L1 while still holding R2. If you rotate the first block a little before you clone it, you can make an arch. Use L2 to make the first block angle up slightly, then make the clone angle down. Press the left directional button to repeat clone.
I could do that after the fact though too, right?
Make an arch. Amazing, right? Let's quickly test that in play mode. Looks great. Switch back to edit mode, rewind time, and go to the next step of the tutorial.
I want to do that arch thing. Do you have to rotate the first block first to do that arch thing, or how do I rotate? Oh wait. Oh, you can just rotate it with the motion controls. Can you turn the motion controls off if you want to do precision without having to like worry about keeping your hand perfectly still? So then, I missed his part. He went really fast there. Like, how are you supposed to make the arch? Might have to actually go back for once.
Switch back to edit mode, rewind up to make an arch. Then make the clone angle down.
Oh. You can do that.
Press the left directional button to repeat clone, and the clones will line up to make an arch. Amazing, right? Let's quickly test that in play mode.
Wow. It's not very... Oh, there we go.
Looks great. Switch back to edit mode, rewind time, and go to the next step of the tutorial.
Well, kind of looks great. Not really. I feel like a lot of these... for you expert level crafters, as you go along, a lot of these like quick methods like cloning are something that you're probably like maybe use as a sketching method, but probably in the end you're gonna like mostly want to do precision stuff on a grid and not use those shortcuts just to make sure that everything is perfect.
Now, you probably noticed that all the blocks, the original as well as its clones, were selected automatically after cloning. You can tell when things are selected because they have an animated dashed outline. But after we switched between play and edit modes, everything was deselected. So let's select them again. All you have to do is hover your imp over one of the blocks and press X. There's the outline again. Now do the same to the rest until the whole bridge is selected. Can you see how each block has its own outline, with a double line where they meet? That's because they're still individual elements.
Can I do depth pushing?
You can deselect them one at a time with X,
motion
but it's
controls
much quicker
just
if
do
you
motion,
deselect
not
them
depth,
all at
so
once
that's why
with
you'd want to
circle.
move.
Give it a try. There's also a faster way of selecting multiple objects. Just select one as before, but this time keep X held down. Now move your imp to select the others. Better than selecting one at a time, right? So much faster. The great thing about having multiple objects selected is that you can manipulate them as if they were one object. For example, if all the blocks are selected, you can clone the bridge sideways to create a double bridge. Plenty of room for Connie to cross it without falling off the edge. Try it in play mode.
Yeah.
Once Connie is across the gap,
I know how it's
go back to edit mode and move on to the next step.
Yeah, alright. Ow. 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 Ow.
You know,
ow, ow.
This bridge would be really useful to help Connie cross to the next platform.
Ooh, I bet you I'll select the whole last thing.
Select all the blocks again. If we're going to use this bridge a lot, we can make it into a group. That way, it will behave like a single element.
Up here?
And you won't have to keep selecting all the blocks.
Group selected. Tweak selected?
Have you noticed the menu at the side of the screen? It appears when you have one or more objects selected.
There we go.
That's the context menu. The options it gives you will depend on the situation you're in. In this case,
but
all
wait a
buttons relate
minute.
to selected
It looks
objects.
as though the bridge is shitty. You're a
for the
shitty
plus sign.
creator
That's
for
the
doing
icon
that
for the
bridge
group
the way
button.
you did. Let's
The
see
number
if I
next
can
to it
fix
tells
it
you
for
how
you.
many objects you've selected. You can use this button now to turn all of those blocks into a group.
Oh, you're a right
There we
cunt,
go.
aren't you?
The bridge is now a single element.
Next time you should
You can
listen.
tell because it has one outline around it instead of one around each block. And if you look over at the context menu, you'll see the group button now says ungroup. Use it if you want to break a group up. But we still need it to help Connie. So let's clone this bridge and place it between the second and third platforms.
This is too hard.
Just like before, hold L1 and grab the bridge with R2 to clone it. As always, remember to let go of L1.
Like, that doesn't work. It was clear what was going to happen. You know, I'm just going to drill a hole
We
through
don't
this
need
one.
to test the bridge to see that it's not going to get Connie to the third platform.
Are you
But
sure?
don't
I
worry,
thought you'd make me
we'll
test
fix
it.
that in the next step when you're ready to.
Alright.
Our bridge needs a bit of work if it's going to reach the
The
next
tutorial by
platform.
Gordon Ramsay.
This is the perfect opportunity to learn a new technique, scoping in. Scoping in means you can jump into a group and edit the contents
In the next
individually
tutorial, we'll teach
without
you how to
having
make an
ungroup
idiot
it first.
sandwich.
And since you can only edit things inside the group,
Spoilers,
you
get
don't
2
have to
pieces
worry
of
about
bread and
messing
put them
up
on
anything
either of your
outside it.
ears.
Let's give it a try now. Select the bridge with X if it isn't already selected. Then find the Scope In button near the bottom of the context menu.
Oh, that's nice.
Notice that it's showing you a shortcut for it, L1 and X.
Hide everything else. Oh my
So
god.
hover over the
Oh my
bridge.
god, that's so useful.
Group. Hold L1 and press X. Now you're scoped in. We can now edit all the parts as if it wasn't a group. If you want to really focus on just the group, you can hide everything else in the scene. Just use the Hide Everything Else button in the context menu. The icon looks like a closed eye. There's also a Scope Out button in the top right corner. This is how you exit groups. Try scoping out now. Select the button with X or use the shortcut, L1 and circle. That's it. Now scope back in again so we can fix the bridge. Just hover over it, hold L1 and press X. I think what Connie needs to reach the next platform is a staircase.
Whoa, what did I
So
just
use
do?
the move and clone
I'm in
tools
sculpt
to
mode. Get
create
me
a
out.
new one.
How'd I do this? So now what do you want to do? Oh, we could do that, or we could just fucking... Imagine if you kept getting sculpts wrong and the narrator said, "You're ballsing it all up, you ruddy cunt spannering cockwomble." That must be British humor. I don't get any of it.
Once you've built the staircase, test it out in play mode.
Hey, how'd they do that?
To make
Wait.
sure Connie can.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Oh, you're doing that. I see. Well, basically you deleted
Once
everything
you've built the
first.
staircase, test it out in play mode to make sure Connie can make it across.
Okay.
When you're happy with it, switch back to edit
Can you
mode,
group within a
rewind
group?
time and move on
Oh my
to
God,
the
you
final
can.
step of this tutorial.
There you go. Maybe it's too steep at the beginning. I guess we'll have to... Maybe I should actually go into play mode and see if that actually works. There we go. Yay.
Is your staircase working? Fantastic. Now Connie just needs a bit more help to save poor old Cuthbert from his predicament.
Poor old Cuthbert.
Luckily, you can clone your staircase group to reach the final platform.
Eh? What the...
Use the clone shortcut L1 and R2 to copy the staircase group to the last platform. Don't forget to let go of L1 once the clone has been created.
Look at my jank-ass stairs.
That's how useful groups are. If you select the group, you'll see a button in the context menu that saves the group as a new element.
I'm happy with my creative decision.
Saving a group as a new element means you can use it in other scenes or share it in the Dreamiverse.
Wow, that's awesome.
You can't
that's
do that
awesome
in tutorials,
how easy and quick that
but
is.
you can everywhere
So
else.
wait, what do? You select it, and then you hit
Now
what?
that you've mastered selecting and grouping, I'll leave you with a thought to
Wait,
ponder.
what did you tell me?
You can also make a group inside a group.
Well, fuck.
With that, I'll let you experiment. Once you're happy that you've mastered selecting, grouping and scoping, you have just one thing left to do.
What did it...
Go into play mode
It's created
and
at the
take
bottom
Connie
right?
and Cuthbert to the
Oh,
exit.
that's why. Because they don't want you to do this shit yet. Alright, alright. Man, so cool. So, I know that, like, they have community guidelines about what you create and stuff, but what if you don't want to create community guideline stuff? Can you make your shit private? Like, can you save assets without them being saved to the cloud? Can you do this all offline and shit? Like, say I want to make an epic fucking Miss Frizzle's tour of the fallopian tubes. And it's very detailed. You can just do stuff offline. I was always a little bit like, that episode really stuck with me of Magic School Bus when they go inside Arnold and they go all the way through his digestive tract and to completion, and he's actually in a stall. How did they end it? I can't remember exactly how they get out. Alright, is there anything changed in the home space yet? Doesn't look like it. Alright, jumping back into some dream shaping into the tutorials. But if they don't, I feel like they reverse, I feel like they go back out, but in that case, they're like driving a school bus that's been in his rectum out his mouth. That's even worse, isn't it? Fucking Magic School Bus. I need to see that episode. Logic tutorial. Want to trigger events with your scenes? Learn more. Okay, now we're getting into the nitty gritty here. We're skipping motion controls because they don't have one. Learn about timers, health checkpoints, and fundamentals of games. Beginner logic. This is how you make things run.
In this tutorial, you're going to
Cuthbert,
learn all
you
about the exciting world
fucking
of
moron.
Pay no attention to Cuthbert. It's not as complicated as it sounds. I promise. Let's check out the scene. See the buttons on the platforms in front of our good friend Connie? They activate the bridges that will take her to the next platform. At least that's what they're supposed to do. To get them working, you'll need to connect them to the gadgets that control them. You can't see gadgets when you're in play mode, but they let you do all sorts of useful things in edit mode. You can tell gadgets apart by their color and icons. Green gadgets are sensors and inputs. This one is what we call a trigger zone. It's one of the more versatile gadgets. It can trigger other gadgets when it detects something in the scene. Like in this case, Connie standing on the button. Hi, Connie. If you select the gadget with X, you'll be able to see its detection zone. That's it, right there above the button. Press the circle button to deselect the trigger zone.
So since it's a detection
and let's look at the next
zone,
gadget.
technically the
Red
button
gadgets
doesn't even
are
need to be
movers
pressed.
and
It's just
outputs,
being within the field
meaning
that's
they make
making it
things
trigger.
happen in the scene. This particular gadget is a rotator, and it's connected to the first bridge. Click R3 to start time, and let's see what it does. Well, not a lot right now by the looks of it.
Why do you gotta
That's because the
fucking fuck with
rotator
me?
is switched off. You can tell because the gadget is dim at the moment. But if we connect these two gadgets together, we can turn the rotator on using the trigger zone. In the next step, I'll show you how. Before we start connecting things, make sure you can see both gadgets. You'll notice they have ports sticking out of their sides.
Little
Ports
nodules.
on the left are inputs, and the ones on the right are outputs. Hover over the output port on the trigger zone now. You'll see the word detected appear. That means that when the trigger zone detects something, this output will send a signal. Before it can send that signal to the rotator though, we'll need to connect them with a wire. So hover over the detected output and press R2 or X.
Think. And this
You'll
one's already
notice your
connected,
imp
I
is
think.
now tethered to the port by a wire. Power ports have appeared on the gadgets too. It's these ports that switch gadgets on or off. Okay, drag the wire over to the red rotator gadget. Now hover over the power port at the bottom, then press R2 or X.
Does it have to be on that little red dot that you
Once
attach
the gadgets
things?
are connected, the wire will disappear automatically. That way, your scene won't get cluttered. After all, you don't want wires all over the place.
I do.
You can see the wire again by hovering over either gadget. Okay, time to test our connection out. So let's switch over to play mode in the options menu.
Beep.
That's more like
Wait
it.
a minute.
Now the trigger zone detects Connie when she stands on the button.
How did I fuck this
and
up?
activates
What did I fuck
the
up?
rotator on the bridge.
Did I disconnect the other thing?
As soon as she steps
Hey,
off,
shh.
the rotator stops.
Shush. Did I disconnect it somehow? Is the signal? It's there, right? Why is it rainbow? Anyways, then that one is connected over there. You didn't put the wire in the power port? Oh, there's a different port? I didn't pay attention. I thought I knew what I was doing. Green one, power port to switch. Oh, like I have to send it to the switch? Oh. What the fuck? Oh. So. Oh, you're putting it in there instead. What's the other support for? Rotation speed. Affected objects. Oh, I put it on the wrong one. Better delete this wire. I don't know how that stuff works yet. Alright, let me see then. I thought I knew what I was doing. There we go. Whoop. Okay.
Working. You can use the button to get the bridge lined up with the platform. Once Connie can make it to the second platform, you can head back to edit mode and move on to the next step.
Is cool. This is going to inspire so many kids. I was thinking about this plus what Apple's doing with their, I forget what they call it. Apple's got this like labs thing or something like that you get to program and move robots using code, and you get to code this shit. And then they have their Swift coding playgrounds that you can download for free with tutorials on how to code in Swift, which is their own proprietary language that most people consider Swift coding to be the most human intuitive, I think. Though I've heard it has limitations. But anyways, I just think it's cool that there's...
Now that we've connected the rotator, let's take a look at the second platform.
I'm going to teach robots to fart.
See the white gadget on its side? This gadget isn't a sensor or an output. It's called a microchip.
Swift is...
Microchips are used to organize logic in scenes. You can think of them as boxes of gadgets and wires.
Oh, so
Let's
there's
have a
more
look
in
inside.
there.
Hover over this one
Are
with
you
your
kidding me?
Hold L1 and press X.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's just like scoping into a group of objects.
What?
This window is the microchip's canvas. And if these gadgets look familiar, it's because they're two rotators.
This is crazy.
Each one controls
Any
half
one of these tools
disjointed
could be their own
drawbridge.
friggin' game or application
Try
that
to
people would
connect the
pay
output
tons
from
of
the
money
trigger
for.
zone to the power ports on the rotators. You can create multiple wires from the same output. Or you can clone wires in the scene by holding L1, then grabbing them with
Why
R2.
is his shit different than mine? Did I skip ahead too
Clone
far?
the wire near the rotator to create a new
this
wire
one
from the
is
trigger
what I want
zone.
in.
Once you've connected the trigger zone to the second rotator, switch over to play mode and make sure it's all working.
Alright.
Okay.
First, I have to scope out of this one, right? Do I have to leave this microchip? Save position, pin to screen, close. Then I'll go into this one. How do you scope in again? L1, press X. Okay, here we go. Then you just go like, alright. This is so that you don't have a bunch of these like sitting all over the place. Oh, did I put them into the rotation speed again? I think I did. Rotation speed, power. What did he say to do? He wants them attached to power, I think?
Wires from the same output. Or you can clone wires in the scene by holding L1, then grabbing them with R2. Clone the wire near the rotator to create a new wire from the trigger zone. Once you've connected the trigger zone to the second rotator, switch over to play mode and make sure it's all working.
Oh, I get it.
Okay, jumping on the button now will activate the trigger zone and raise the drawbridge so that you can cross over the... Oh, wait a minute. The bridge has dropped down before Connie could cross. That's because the signal to the rotator stopped sending.
He really speeds up, which is good, but it kind of throws you for a loop because you're used to it being so slow up to this point. Yeah, you're right. That sucks. Why'd you put me into that situation?
As soon as Connie stepped off the trigger zone. Switch back to edit mode and rewind time with L3. In the next step, I'll show you how to make signals stay on. If we want the bridge to stay up, we'll need to add a gadget between the trigger zone and the rotator to keep it activated. We can do this with a counter. So let's go into the assembly menu. Press square to open it if it's closed. Select the gadgets menu with X. You'll find the counter in the logic and processing section. The gadgets in this menu take an input signal and change it in some way before sending it on. Go ahead and select the counter. Its icon is a tally counter. Now you can see the gadget on your imp. Hover over the microchip and it will snap to the canvas.
Wait, where's the...
Press R2 or X to stamp the counter onto the
Wait
microchip.
a minute, where's your counter? Which one's the counter? Angle sensor, laser scope, impact, signal, switch, value, logic and processing, trigger, tag, wire. Did I go into the wrong menu? Logic and processing is yellow. In here, oh my fucking god. Counter. Oh Christ. Okay, now you can talk, Art Attack.
Then press circle to unequip it. The counter gadget counts up or down whenever it receives a signal through its inputs. By default, it starts its count at 0 and has a target of 1. Once it reaches that target, it sends a constant signal through its counter full output port. Before we connect it though, let's tidy up the wires connecting the trigger zone to the rotators.
No need to tidy wires.
Just hover over them and press triangle to delete them.
Fine. Wish it was that
Now
easy in
press
real life.
R2 or X over the detected output of the trigger zone to create a new wire. Connect it to the increased count input port on the counter. That's the port with the plus sign icon. Now when the trigger zone is activated, the counter will go up to 1. And, this is the important part, it will stay at 1 even after the trigger zone deactivates. Now hover over the counter full output port of the counter. This port sends a signal when the counter reaches its target. Create a wire with R2 or X and connect it to one of the rotator's power ports. Then do the same for the other one. Time to switch to play mode and try out our new connections. When you're happy everything's working as it should, return to edit mode and move on to the next step.
Seems weird that a counter is necessary to keep that toggled on. There should just be a toggle switch, shouldn't there? I don't know. It's up to them. I don't know how to make video games. Oops.
Just one more bridge for Connie to cross. As you can see, we have another microchip on the platform. So let's open it up. Hover over it with your imp, hold L1 and press X.
Is this what you were waiting for, pal?
Okay.
For me to take
Looks
the
like
initiative.
we have everything we need here. But Connie's an adventurer, so how about we make this last bridge more challenging? Adding a timer to the logic should get the adrenaline going. Once Connie activates the button, she'll only have a few seconds to cross before the bridge drops back down. Let's head back to the assembly menu. If it isn't already open, press square. Then go into the gadgets section. You'll find the timer in the same place as the counter, the logic and processing section. Its button has a clock face on it. Now go ahead and stamp the timer gadget onto the microchip with R2 or X. Then unequip it from your imp with the circle button. Now let's take a closer look at the timer's inputs and outputs. You can see their names by hovering over the ports. The first input is a start timer port. Once this receives a signal, it will start the clock. The second one is reset timer, which sets the time back to 0. Over on the output side, we have timer finished and timer output. Timer finished sends a signal when the timer reaches the required number. It's set to 5 seconds by default. Timer output is a little more sophisticated. The signal it sends represents the timer's current progress. If, let's say, it's only halfway to its target, the signal it sends will be half strength. So how do we connect this so the bridge only stays up for a few seconds? Well, we need the bridge to be raised while the timer is running. So create a wire on the timer output with R2 or X. Remember how we used the counter on the previous platform? We can use one here too. Just like before, connect the wire to the counter's increase count input. Then connect the counter full output to the rotator's power port. Time to see if it works. Click R3 to test it out. As you can see, since the timer isn't connected to a trigger yet, the clock starts ticking as soon as we play the scene. The bridge goes up, but doesn't drop down when the timer finishes. That can only mean one thing. There's a problem with the logic. If you'd like to figure it out for yourself, feel free to check the gadgets and see what's wrong. Or move on to the next step and we'll go through it together.
Oh my god. I'll need you to teach me.
So let's take a look at why the bridge stayed up after the timer finished instead of going back down. Remember how we used the counter earlier to remember the signal from the trigger zone? Well, now it's remembering the signal from the timer, so we need to make it forget that once the timer finishes. Let's go over to the counter gadget. Hover over the inputs to see their names. This one here is reset count. It'll put the counter back to 0, which will turn off the rotator. So all we need to do is connect it to the timer, but to which output? Aha, there we go. We can use the timer finished output. Hover over it and create a wire with R2 or X. Then stretch the wire over to the counter and connect it to the reset count input. But we also need to reset the timer, otherwise the logic will only work once. So let's get another wire from the timer finished output and connect this one to the reset timer input. You'll recognize it by the rewind symbol on it.
Right.
All we have left to do is to connect the trigger zone to the start timer port so Connie can activate it.
Okay.
Okay, that was a lot of connections. So before we test it out, let's go over the logic we've made. First, Connie activates the trigger zone, which sends a signal to start the timer. Once the clock starts running, the
That's
timer
amazing.
output becomes
Arnold
active.
sneezed out the magic school
This
bus
tells the
from
counter
within
to
his
count
rectum.
That then turns on the rotator and raises
It's
the
a
bridge.
hell of a sneeze.
Now this is where the really clever stuff
Wait,
kicks in.
what did you say? I
After
better listen to that.
this tells the counter to
Instead
count
of talking
up.
about Arnold's rectum.
That then turns on the rotator and raises the bridge. Now this is where the really clever stuff kicks in. After 5 seconds, the timer finishes its count, which activates the timer finished output. This in turn resets the counter to 0, cutting the signal to the rotators and lowering the bridge. And let's not forget, it also resets the timer, so the logic could be triggered again if Connie didn't cross the bridge the first time. Isn't logic exhilarating? Take your time digesting all that.
I mean,
Logic is easier to read if you route your wires neatly.
yeah.
Grab wires with X to change their paths.
Oh my god, you can like... Oh wow.
You can also move the gadgets around by grabbing them with R2.
That's amazing.
Feel
You can
free
make
to
them
test
like
it
a
out in
like
play
real
mode,
circuit
but
looking.
don't leave the scene just yet. I have one more thing to show you.
A circuit board, if you want. That's neat. My goodness, though, holy shit. This stuff makes my brain hurt. I mean, it's not that complicated, but it's like,
So,
wow.
on the third platform, we've set up a timer that makes the bridge drop after 5 seconds. But I think that might be too easy for a seasoned pro like Connie. Let's make it a little bit more challenging. First, if you're in play mode, switch back to edit mode and rewind time with L3. Let's move in closer to the microchip with the timer. You can use the grab cam, R1, to move your view. Now I'll show you how to tweak a gadget's settings. Hover over the timer gadget, hold L1 and press square. This tweak menu contains the settings for the timer. Hover over the sliders and buttons to see their names. The top slider sets the target time for the timer. If we lower this setting, the bridge will stay up for a shorter time. To adjust the value, hover your imp over the slider, then hold X. Use your imp to drag the slider left or right. Set it to around 3 seconds. It doesn't have to be exact. If you're a stickler for precision, you can adjust the slider incrementally using the up and down directional buttons. Just hover your imp over the slider and press up or down to tweak the value. In fact, why don't we make things really interesting for Connie? Let's set it to 2.5 seconds. You can close the tweak menu now by selecting the cross in the top corner with X. Or you could use a shortcut. Just hold L1, then press circle while hovering over the menu to close it quickly. The same shortcut works for closing microchips. Give it a try now. Hold L1, then hover your imp over the microchip and press circle.
I'm picturing that
Time
this
to
guy
test
who's
out the scene in
talking
play
also
mode.
didn't understand most of this. And he'd get done at the recording studio after a day and be like, what the fuck am I
If you
on
have
about?
any problems crossing that last bridge, you can always tweak the timer again in edit mode. Remember, you just hover over the gadget, hold L1 and press square to open its tweak menu. When you're all set, take Connie to the last platform and walk through the door to complete this tutorial.
Did I fuck this up? I fucked this up somehow. What happened? What'd I do? L1. How did this fuck up? I press it, it triggers it, goes to the start timer. The timer finish. Timer output signal representing the current status of the timer in terms of how far through it's run, which triggers the counter. Huh? Anybody see what I did wrong? I guess I should actually look at each one of these things. How do I look at this? Oops. Hey, that one's moving. This doesn't move, but the cloned one did. Huh? You think the counter's off? I need a snack. Becky, can I have a snack? And water? The timer's wired to itself? Well, the timer needs to be wired to itself so that it resets. I'm gonna delete some stuff though, just to make it simpler. Timer output. I still don't understand quite how the timer output is a signal representing the current status of the timer and how far it is, because that hits the counter, that increases the count. But you'd think that it would increase it incrementally, meaning that it wouldn't trigger anything properly. How did I fuck this up? I don't understand. Open the counter and press on the switch. Yeah, how do I open this again? I don't even remember how to. L1 or like tweak selected shortcut. Oh, L1 press square. Okay. Counter goes to 1. Target value. So it. Well, what I'm trying to do is trigger the bridge to work by he clicks, goes into the trigger zone, which causes the timer to begin, and the timer has a total of 2.5 seconds before it resets this, I think, because it says timer output, which initiates the increase count, which is a value of 1, which will cause the rotator to initiate, which will raise the bridge. Upon completion of the timer, it resets the count down here. How do you turn it? How did I turn it off?
Press X on the power button at the bottom.
X. X. Where's the power button? Counter doesn't have a power button. L1 and square to open it up. What? How did I hit this? I hit that at some point by accident? So this thing can just be turned off manually? You can also wire this? Oh my fucking god. How did I turn it off? When did I turn it off? So I accidentally hit the power button on it. Delta Centauri, I didn't do level building it with Little Big Planet because I thought Little Big Planet, while fun, I was happy to try a few of other people's stuff, but like I thought it was just really limited. You're basically just level building. With this, it's just infinite possibilities, and it's really intriguing to me. Hey, it still doesn't work. Let's see what I did. Oh, I think this has to reset upon completion. Yeah, timer finished, reset the timer so that Connie can do it multiple times if needed. Might have to rewind the whole thing. Rewind. What if you don't want to rewind an entire level? Like you want to just rewind to a certain checkpoint. There we go. And it should go down in 2.5 seconds. Yeah, there we go. We did it. Sparks was terrible. So the Spark project, Project Spark, their heart was in the right place, but it didn't run well. It ran so, like, terribly. It wasn't fun to be in. It wasn't fun to try to figure out. It was the Xbox thing, yeah. I thought Little Big Planet 2 had a lot of extra possibilities. I remember people were able to make a lot of different crazy games in Little Big Planet. But again, you were still really kind of, it all centered around this like little guy. It was cool what they did though, for sure. I just wasn't that interested in that. This is just, I don't know how far I'll go with it because it's fucking complicated, but what really intrigues me is the assets and being able to mix and match, and me being able to go in and find assets people built and then potentially integrate them into my own creation, so I don't have to do all this programming, or I don't have to do all the collaboration aspect of everything is very intriguing. Beck, did you hear me about a snack? Can I have a snack? A little while ago. Can I have popcorn? Yeah. Yay. My only fear about community events, Delta Centauri, would be that we might spend a lot of time on some sort of mediocre stuff trying to give every turbo their due. As we've seen with Minecraft, you'll see some really amazing stuff built by our community, and then you'll see some people that are really screen hogs with like insane amounts of signs that just absolutely must be read. Their hearts are in the right place, but the Minecraft shows got really exhausting with how much people were like kind of expecting attention be placed on every nook and cranny of their build. And I would be worried that we would end up in a bunch of like, yesterday we played Heinz's game, right? And his game, Pig Detective, was quite funny and entertaining, but it easily could have been just as long, which was pretty long. We dedicated a good amount of time to it, more than I usually would for a fan-created thing on our show. It was worth it, but what if it wasn't? We'd be sitting there and everybody would be thinking I'm an asshole because I'm like, all right, when's it gonna get good? And that's what worries me about looking at fan stuff, is when it overstays its welcome and I have no other choice but to like be like, all right, canceled, you know. That's what worries me. I'm not saying I absolutely don't want to do it. I just feel like maybe we need some maybe community curation. The community needs to decide what deserves on the show. I know that might create some infighting, but I feel like that might be the only way, is like, you know, saying like, hey, Fresh, this one's actually really good.
In this tutorial, you'll use logic to make health go up and go down. Oh, Cuthbert.
You thought it was funny when I would trash talk to Minecraft people?
Play mode.
Well, when I did, it was all in good fun, right? I would do it with kind of a cheekiness. Like, I wasn't like actually lacing into them personally, but man, oh man, did I face backlash online, like on YouTube comments and stuff, being like, these people paid you out of the good of their hearts, and all you can do is criticize them and not give them the time of day and not give them due amount of time on your show to like look at all this shit. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit. Welcome to being a creator online. You can't do anything right.
See if you can get Connie across that first gap. Oops. Sorry, Connie. I forgot to fix that. Don't worry, though. Even after falling such a long way, Connie's just fine. There's only one problem. There's no way for her to get back up. What we need is for Connie to respawn on a platform if she falls. so that's going to be our next job. First, switch back to edit mode. Remember to rewind time with L3 as we always do after play mode. In order to make Connie respawn, we're going to use a health modifier gadget. We'll use it to make the floor around the platforms lethal. Health modifiers can damage or heal anything that has a health manager. And, as luck would have it, Connie has one built into her logic. Go to the assembly menu. Open it with the square button if it's closed. Select the gadgets menu, the one with the 3 connected squares. You'll find the health modifier in the movers and output section, which is represented by a box with an arrow.
I'm gonna stand up for a bit.
Now select the button that has a clockwork heart on it.
Don't break the fourth wall.
Your imp will now be equipped with a health modifier gadget. Stamp
There we
it
go.
somewhere central, near the floor, using R2
I like to stand
or
sometimes
X.
when I play Overwatch on my own. Alright, so I need a clockwork heart.
Then unequip the gadget with circle. Your scene now has a health modifier, but to make it work as in...
Alright, where do I find that? It's under... Yeah, I'll just play it.
3 connected squares. You'll find the health modifier in the movers and output section, which is represented by a box with an arrow.
How do you...
Now select the button that has a clockwork heart on it.
I don't know how to get it back to where you get to choose. I can see the red box expand to the right there for a second. You have to click circle to go back on that menu. Wait. Oh wow, I don't know if they told us that. And then the box.
Now select the button that has a clockwork heart on it. Your imp will now be equipped with a health modifier gadget. Stamp it somewhere central, near the floor, using R2 or X. Then unequip the gadget with circle. Your scene now has a health modifier, but to make it work as intended, we'll have to tweak it first. We'll do that in the next step. Let's go ahead and open the health modifiers tweak menu. Hover
I like this
over
little
it,
hoodie, but it
hold L1
kind of weighs on my
and press
shoulders.
square.
Alright.
Here you can set the options for how the health modifier works. That includes how much health is modified, which is shown in the first slider. Right now, it's set to -100. This means it will take 100 health points away from anything it affects. Just enough to make Connie respawn. The modifier mode is set to per hit, so 100 health points will be taken away when anything touches it. But since we want the area around the platforms to be lethal, we need to set the modifier type to zone. Select the zone icon with X now, then go to the zone properties tab so we can change its size and shape. The icon is at the top of the menu and looks like a box in a zone.
Square. Right? Yeah.
Look for the zone shape section of the menu, then select the cube.
Modify the Y.
You can use the zone sliders to make the zone bigger.
Modify the X.
Be careful not to make it too tall. The respawn zone should be level with the pink lines around the platforms. If you need to, move the health modifier gadget nearer to the floor. When you hover over the edges of the zone, you'll see white arrow gizmos appear. Grabbing these with R2 will let you change the size of the zone. Using those, you can make sure the area around the platforms is covered.
Hello, Becky.
Now let's test it in play mode and see what happens.
Yummy.
Perfect. If Connie falls off now, she'll just respawn back on the platform.
There you go.
Before we move on,
Drink.
maybe we should do something about this booby-trapped bridge. Switch back to edit mode and rewind time with
Do you
L3.
have a drink?
There. See what's causing it? It's that trigger zone. When Connie activates it, the bridge collapses and there's no way across. If you finish
Okay.
the first logic tutorial, you'll know that the counter is being used to remember the trigger.
All right, what I don't get here is inside that health thing, inside the, what do they call it, the health field here? Health modifier. So I'm in it. This is the zone size. I don't want that right now. I want to look at the properties. Modifier zone. Per hit. Continuous modify. Impact or zone. Consider players. Power. Where's the respawn? He tells me how, like, this is gonna... Basically, he started the tutorial by saying, we need to get Connie to respawn. But what he didn't say is that we're basically just killing her to automatically respawn. Oh, maybe he did mention that it's already built into her logic that she respawns wherever she was before when she... Okay, that's probably what he said. It's already built into her logic. So basically he's just saying we need to kill Connie. Mmm.
Popcorn.
Mmm.
Popcorn.
Any juice?
No.
Please.
We don't have juice.
You have juice hidden somewhere.
No, we don't.
I bet you do.
We don't have juice. Fraser doesn't let me buy juice.
Is this the whole bag?
No, I'm not giving you the whole bag.
No. Mmm. Popcorn. Ow. Ah, too much. All right. Keep talking, you British
The
bastard.
zone has been activated. If you follow the wires, you'll see there's one connected to each block. These red dots on the blocks are not gadgets. They show that a wire is connected to a setting in the block's tweak menu. Explore the logic for yourself. Or, if you want to move on and get Connie on her way, just delete the trigger zone by pressing triangle over it. That'll prevent any of the logic from activating.
So the red dots indicate that it's affected by something. Do you get to decide where those red dots are? Because, like, I can imagine you having some sort of, like, really abstract object and not seeing one of those and having trouble figuring out what's being affected. X-ray mode. This is nuts, man. All right.
Then, once Connie can safely make it to the second platform, move on to the next step.
So just delete the trigger. Let's make sure Connie can make it to the next platform. There we go. Working as expected. Alright. So down here, oh, for a second I saw, like, these icons that keep showing up down there with a percentage, and I'm assuming that says like how much more stuff you can do in the level before it's filled up. But it seems there's 3 total indicators?
Now's probably a good time to show you how to add checkpoints. When playable characters like Connie activate a checkpoint, the scene remembers their progress. So when they respawn, they'll appear at the last checkpoint instead of starting off at the beginning. Go to the assembly menu, then the gadgets menu. If the last section you used is still open, close it by pressing circle over it.
Now he tells me.
Expand the gameplay gear section with X, then select the checkpoint. It's the one that looks like a location marker. There. Now your imp is equipped with a checkpoint gadget. The direction of a checkpoint determines which way a character will face when it respawns. So make sure the front of the gadget, the side with the black outline, is facing the direction you want Connie to face. Remove the gadget from your imp with the circle button, then open the Checkpoints Tweak menu. Checkpoints use a detection zone, just like health modifiers. So select the Zone Size tab from the menu. This is set to a sphere by default, but to make sure it can't be missed, let's change it to a cube. You can use the zone size sliders to make the checkpoint cover the width of the platform. Above the gadget, you'll see a white move gizmo. Grab it with R2 to put the activation zone where you want it. Just make sure Connie can't miss it. The white handle shows the direction Connie will face when she respawns. Check that it's pointing the right way. Grab it with R2 if you need to adjust it. Let's close that tweak menu with L1 and circle. Now try it out in play mode to see if the checkpoint remembers your progress. Sorry, Connie, we're gonna have to respawn you again. But it's all in the name of science, I promise. Great, there she is. Right at the checkpoint again. When you're ready, go back to edit mode, rewind time, and move on to the next step.
So Connie should reset at the checkpoint. Good shit.
This next bridge looks a bit too hot to walk on. But Connie's a tough explorer, and she's always ready for danger. So let's give it a go. Okay, that block's too big for Connie to jump over. Better get her back to safety before
So can you
it's
have
too
a
late.
character hit a checkpoint but
Let's switch
respawn
back
in
to
a
edit
different
mode
location
and see
than
how the
the
bridge is
checkpoint?
damaging Connie. Move closer to the bridge and keep an eye out for any gadgets attached to it. Ah, there's one. A clockwork heart icon, so it's another health modifier. It looks like, instead of using a zone, this one is attached to the bridge. So whenever Connie walks on it, she loses health. If only that block wasn't in the way, she could make it across. But what if the block itself could lose health?
What?
We could give it a health manager of its own and see how that
What?
works out.
You can't
Go
do
to the
that.
assembly menu, then open the gadgets menu. You may need to close the gameplay gear section if you opened it earlier.
Man, it's weird he
Then
didn't
you
put that
can
tip in
expand the
earlier when we
movers and
needed it for the
output
first
section.
time.
Look for a heart icon, not the clockwork heart this time. Select it with X to give your imp a health manager gadget. Stamp one near the block with R2 or X, then press circle to unequip it from your imp. To make the health manager affect the block, we'll need to attach it. The easiest way to attach gadgets to objects is to use what we call surface snap. Grab the health manager with R2 and hold it over the block. All you have to do to activate surface snap is hold L1 while your imp holds the gadget.
Oh my god.
This makes it hug the surface of any object you hover over. Now release R2 to attach the gadget to the block. You can also let go of L1 to stop using surface snap. In the next step, I'll show you how to tweak this health manager. Now that we've given the block health, let's take a closer look at it. Hover over the health manager, hold L1 and press square to open its tweak menu. The sliders here define the block's maximum and current health. Click R3 to play time, and you'll see the health starts to go down. That's because the bridge's health modifier is damaging it.
Wait, what?
But you'll notice it's going down much slower than Connie's health was when she was on the bridge. The reason for that is this health manager has a 1 second cooldown. So whenever the block takes damage, it's invulnerable for 1 second.
My time is already played and nothing's happening to this block. He's not losing... Tweak it? Huh? I'm gonna reset time. Okay. I reset time and now it's losing health. I don't know why what I had progressed already would have affected its ability to lose health or not, but apparently it did. Okay. Well, I'm gonna listen to him next time when he says always reset time.
Second after that.
I guess.
Grab the cooldown slider with X and pull it to the left with your imp. So what happens when it reaches 0? Not a lot right now. But we can deal with that in the next step. For now, feel free to experiment with the health manager settings.
No.
Start time with R3 to see your changes, then rewind it with L3 to reset the health manager. Once you're done, you can move on to the next step.
We're gonna connect it to that number above his head.
An object doesn't automatically get destroyed when it runs out of health, so we need to do a bit more work before we can get rid of that block. Let's take a closer look at its health manager. If its tweak menu is still open, close that first with L1 and circle. See the output ports on its right edge. Hover over the one at the bottom, the one that has a heart with a cross over it.
No health.
This is the no health output, which sends a signal when the health manager is depleted. It can be used to trigger any number of things, but right now, we're going to use it to destroy the block. Go to the assembly menu and take a look in the gadget section. It may still be open from earlier, when you selected the health manager. Look for a skull icon on a button in the movers and output section and select it with X. This is the destroyer gadget. It destroys whatever it's attached to.
Whoops.
To attach it to the block, we can
Time
use surface
was-
snap. So hover the destroyer over the block, hold L1 to make it surface snap, and press R2 or X to stamp it.
Okay.
Now you can unequip the destroyer gadget with circle. Okay, before we connect it up, let's just see if it works by clicking R3. Oh, it works all right. When time is running, the destroyer activates and destroys the block. Rewind time with L3 to bring it back. We don't want the destroyer to activate until the block's health has run out. To do that, we'll need to connect the no health output port to the destroyer's power. So hover your imp over the health manager's no health output
Ah,
port
that's what I
and
think I
press
did to
R2
power
or X to create a wire. This will make power ports appear on the gadgets in the scene. Stretch the wire over to the destroyer and connect it to the power port with R2 or X. Great! Time to test it again with R3 and see what happens. When the block's health runs out, it will get destroyed, leaving the path clear for Connie. But how do we know how much health the block has left? We could always look at its tweak menu, but you...
Shut up. I think I powered off that destroyer again. I don't know how I keep powering blocks off without knowing it. X? On? On? Why are you turning off? Why does the wire dissolve? Yeah, I don't know how I keep turning things off by accident. Oh. What? Okay, it's off because it hasn't initiated. Okay, wait a second. Alright, I'm gonna put this wire. Oops. How do I like... Gets turned off by the health manager. Okay, because the health manager wants it to be initiated first. Alright, let me make the health manager go faster then, so that I... Alright, so, play. Oh, okay, it's working. I just didn't I was confused as to why the wire kept on deleting. It looked like it was deleting, but it was just auto-hiding or something. How do I move this wire? Every time I touch it, it wants to rewire it. I just want to grab the wire like I did in circuit mode and make it go different places so I can see it better. Well, I guess I can just do that, but it just disappears to hide clutter. Good to know. I thought that it was like I fucked up. Alright, keep talking.
Can't see that in play mode. So click L3 to rewind time, and I'll show you how to display health in the next step.
Hi.
If the health manager's tweak menu isn't open already, open it now with L1 and square. When you hover over the menu sliders and buttons, you'll see ports popping out of the side. These work just like the ones on the outside of the gadget, but there are a lot more of them. And you might also have noticed that there's another gadget stamped on the side of the block. That's a number displayer. If we connect a wire from the current health output to the number displayer's input port, we'll be able to see the block's health count down in play mode. So let's go ahead and do that. Hover over the current health slider's output port. Then press R2 or X to create a wire and stretch it to the number displayer. Once you've connected it to its input with R2 or X, you can switch over to play mode and test out the whole scene so far.
Awesome, it worked.
Excellent. Now we can see the block taking damage until it's destroyed.
So to tidy
Once
up, you do need the
Connie to
microchip
the next
thing?
platform, switch back to edit mode and move on to the next step.
You just got here, but you got to see what this thing can do. Like, you can take all these chips with all their logic, and you can put them within their own circuit board, and then collapse them within. Like, you don't have to have them sitting in the level like this. They're all represented by these little paddles, but you can have I don't know how to create the circuit board. I don't know how to start it, but you can, and you can put them all inside, probably by selecting them. I bet you I can just like go like this. Let me see here. Group? Nah, I don't think you can do it like that. It hasn't taught me how to do it yet. But it's crazy. Next. It is the way? And
Well,
you can put chips
Connie
within
made it
chips.
through, but she's a bit worse for wear. The burn effect you see on her is triggered by the current health output from her health manager. It gives you a visual cue of her health. The more singed she gets, the less health she has. I'm not sure poor Connie has enough health left to make it across the last bridge. What she needs is a bit of healing. So let's create a healing zone where she can recharge. This green pad looks like a good place to recover. We can turn it into a healing zone by placing a health modifier on it, using Surface Snap. You've used Surface Snap before, so this should be no problem. Go to the Assembly menu and select a health modifier from the Movers and Output menu. It's the one with the clockwork heart on it, remember? Now activate Surface Snap by holding L1. Then attach the health modifier to the green pad. Now you can unequip the gadget with the circle button and open the modifier's tweak menu. We need to change it so it heals Connie. The health modifier is set to -100 by default, which won't do Connie any good. She has 100 health to start with, so that will take it all away and make her respawn. Grab the slider with X, drag it right, and set it to +20. We want the healing zone to heal Connie while she's standing on it, so you also need to set the modifier mode to continuous.
Done.
You can leave the modifier type as impact, since you've snapped the health modifier to the platform.
It's for touching things.
And that's all there is to it. Close the tweak menu with L1 and circle, and give it a try in play mode. Alright, that should give Connie the health boost she needs to cross that final bridge. Oh, she's been through a lot today, so take her through the door to end this tutorial.
Nice. So, no doubt, there must be those thermometers I was talking about earlier, since there's 3. I guess one would be assets within the scene, like objects. The other would be probably logic, right? There has to be a logic meter, because, I mean, the logic you're creating here, though, is so minimal compared to, like, the artificial intelligence involved in an enemy, in one of the many enemies that is in any of the games that we play, like modern games. So you'd think the logic you'd be able to do an insane amount before that meter starts to go up, if it is. Sounds, assets, and logic. Sounds. So, like, you must be able to make a lot of logic. Because while this logic looks complicated and looks like really involved, it's nothing compared to modern AI that we have in these modern day baddies. Yay. Home space editor. Here we go. These are the meters. Graphics, audio, gameplay. So gameplay is logic, I guess. Graphics is assets or like physical stuff, and then audio. one has to wonder, like you guys are talking about some advanced stuff such as a randomizer for procedural generation, path finding for AI. You have to wonder whether, like, down the road, maybe they'll add things like being able to, like, add more freedom, or if that's not available now. Especially when the PlayStation, it crosses over to the PlayStation 5, if they'll make it more robust, some things, or who knows. Sorry, Becky. I'm switching it up because I can. All right, maybe one more tutorial today. It can quickly kind of like... Is that all the logic that I learned? Oh, what's going on here?
Oh, look at you. This is your aura. Your creativity grows and evolves. Your aura will change to reflect your activities. You can become a specialist at one aspect of dreams, or dabble in every area as you like. It can also help others find you, so you can combine your talents and make something amazing together.
They think that I'm a player, not a creator. That's cute. They like kind of categorize you as a player based on what you like to do. And they're saying that you're just as legitimate being a person who plays creations as the person who creates them because, like, they need you. Put that aura away. I need a belt for my aura. My pants fall down because my aura is too big. Dreams Masterclass, content creation, character creation, Jesus. Art tutorials, motion controllers, art tutorial, normal. Audio tutorials, animation tutorials, gameplay tutorials, logic. Maybe I'm gonna skip to sound. I'd like to know more about the sound stuff or the audio. Arranging music. Well, let's start with this. I started with this and like he's telling me how to play shit. This isn't really what I care about, but I guess I should start with the basics, right? Audio's my jam. So is animation though.
Okay, the first thing we need to do is
I like
to start
doing
adding
animation.
some background sounds. See the button with the magnifying glass in the sound menu? That's the search menu. Select it now to view the different types of sounds you can add. Now select the speaker button to search for sound effects. This is the Dreamiverse, where you can find all the wonderful stuff other dreamers have made.
So it gives you like this.
I've already set aside a collection of sound effects for you in here.
So that you can
That's what
see
this collection
like
is.
this range
It's
for how
bursting with
far you can
different
hear the
sound effects
sound.
for you to play with. Select it with X to open it. I've arranged the sound effects into groups for you. To get a proper overview, use the right stick to zoom in and out of the collection. This group of sound effects are background sounds. You can hear a preview of each sound by hovering over them with your imp. Find something that fits the dreamy atmosphere of the
Surface
scene.
Snap's not working.
I
right?
rather like Dream Space. When you've found a sound you like,
Can you not
select it
Surface
with
Snap
X.
this? Weird.
The sound you selected now appears as a gadget on your imp. You can stamp it into your scene with R2, any place you like. It doesn't matter where you put it because background sounds can be heard everywhere in a scene.
Oh.
Now let's start time with R3 and see how it all sounds. Ah, that's better. Notice how much more alive the scene feels with just that one sound. Imagine how it will feel with even more sound effects. But there's no need to imagine it. You can start adding more now to create a layered and unique ambience. If you want to replace a sound effect, just stamp a different one over it. When you've got things sounding just how you want them, rewind time with L3 and move on to the next step.
Okay.
Background sounds really help to create an immersive atmosphere. But to add sound to a specific object in the scene, you need to use what we call a spot sound. Let's try it out on the fire between the platforms. I'm sure we can find some fire sound effects in the collection. Let's take a look. Select Search Sound Effects from the Sound menu. As we open the tutorial collection in the last step, it's still open when we come back to the Dreamiverse. Isn't that handy? Ah, just what we need. Some fire sound effects.
Wait, you can't search it?
Have a listen to some of the fire sounds and pick one you like. Once you've selected it, your imp will be equipped with the spot sound effect. See those rings coming off the gadget? That's the sound's fade zone. The rings show you how the sound fades away as you move further from the source. Let's stamp that sound between the first two platforms. Put it above the fire and see what that sounds like. If you want to see the sound's fade zone, select the gadget with X. Click R3 to listen to the sound effect. You'll notice the sound gets louder the closer you get to it. Aha! You can almost feel that fire. Toasty. As you move away, out of the fade zone, it gets quieter, until eventually you can't hear it at all. You can press the circle button now to deselect the sound effect. Then click L3 to rewind the scene. If you're happy with your spot sound, move on to the next step.
Weren't these first two things I placed area sounds though? Because they also had that orb. Yeah. How do you make environmental sounds? I think the desert is an environmental sound, but I don't think that this one is. For some reason I'm... What are you... Oh, look at it, it's playing. You can add tracks. Yeah, you could do voice acting in this game if you wanted. Oh yeah. I forgot to ask, or I think I asked, like, how do you import assets besides recording with, say, a mic attached to your thing? Can you import audio somewhere from somewhere else, or does it have to be? I guess since if it can do the mic, if it can use the mic that's connected to your controller, you could potentially add a really high quality mic there to do voice acting or whatever. You could also jack this right into a device that's playing audio so that you get the highest quality possible. Oh, like if you can use any USB mic, then that means any USB audio interface, such as a mixing board or whatever, you could send in audio from any source. So you like get high quality recordings of loops, I guess. It's too bad you can't. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to import loop files, I guess, but being able to record them and trim them with a waveform editor. Tweak and slice, oh my god. Look at this shit. Can I slice this shit? Guys, this software, this bundle of software they've given you in this game is a culmination of like software suites that costs in the past hundreds of dollars, thousands even, if you combine it all. It's so crazy what... How do I slice it up? So you can change the loop start time. I think I went too far. That's the slice end, that's the loop. Sounds like it's still playing the whole thing. Oh my man, oh man. Holy moly is a dump.
Things haven't been that tricky for Connie so far, but the next gap looks a bit too big, even with her mighty jumping skills. Let's fly over to that floating platform using the left and right sticks and get a closer look at it. Looks like there's a trigger zone attached to it. Why don't we switch over to play mode and see what it does? Well, will you look at that? It lights up the platform when Connie steps on it. Lovely.
Neat.
You know what would make it even better though? If it made a sound as well. So let's switch back to edit mode and make that happen. I've got a feeling you can find something in the tutorial collection to use here. Go to the assembly menu and go back into sound mode. Now go to search and select search sound effects.
Alright, wait a minute. How do you get the sound menu? What's
Assembly
going on?
menu and go back into sound mode. Now go to search and select search sound effects. Over here are some energy sound effects. Have a
This
listen
isn't
to a
searching at
few.
all.
Pick a sound effect for your light-up platform. I quite like the sound of Dream Terminal. See which one you like and select it with X.
Power crystal. You gotta get the power crystal.
Now it's time to stamp it in the scene somewhere near the platform.
I just put it on the platform.
In the next step, I'll show you how to trigger the sound effect.
Well, I'm just gonna do it myself. I'm gonna make it panning. 3D panning? What? Why did they add all these things? They could have done a tenth of what they put into this and people would have been happy. Pitch shifting. Random note dropping. What? When on, random notes will be missed. The higher the percentage, the more notes will be dropped. I bet you there's a fucking, like, you can put in a swing. I bet you swing modifier. Multi-length. What is all this? I don't know what I'm doing in here. Slice map review. Vary speed. Like, can you do a slicer? Can you, like, do they have a slicer? Like, I know that we looked at how you can slice, but when I say slicer, I mean, like, being able to play slices. Like an instrument. To slice out notes out of, say, like, it's very popular among a lot of music genres these days, especially, like, dubstep, where you take but this has existed for much longer than dubstep. You take a vocal sample or a drum sample, but like people take vocal samples nowadays, slice it all up, all the syllables, and like rearrange it so it sounds like an instrument. Like popularly, that guy Pogo who did the Disney remixes did that with a slicer. Enter speaker name, surround. You can do surround sound mixing. What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay. Slice playback mode. You can have it once or you can have a sustain so that. Okay. Alright, I see. Looping. Ping pong. Go back and forth through it. How is loop different from sustain? Okay. So, wow. Play when it has power, stops when it loses power, and resumes again when it has power again. Okay, I see. Okay. Instrument or sound effect, power. Huh.
As we've already seen, background and spot sounds will play constantly when placed in the scene like this. But for the platform, we want the sound to be triggered by Connie. And for that to happen, we need to connect the sound effect to the same trigger zone that activates the glow. Move in closer to the platform using the left and right sticks. Take a good look at the trigger zone gadget. Do you see the output port that says detected when you hover over it? That means it will trigger when it detects a possessed puppet like Connie. So all we need to do to make the sound effect activate when Connie's on the platform is connect the output to the sound effect. Let's do that now. When you select the detected port with R2 or X, you'll see your imp becomes tethered to the port by a wire. Gadgets communicate with each other using wires like this. You'll also notice that a power port has appeared on the bottom of the sound effect gadget. To connect the two gadgets, just hover over that power port and press R2 or X. Time to head into play mode to see how it sounds. When you're ready, switch back to edit mode and start the next step. Oh, I just realized something. We got so caught up with these sound effects, we forgot to add another platform for Connie. She must be getting impatient. Sort that out for her. The easiest thing to do would be to clone the platform.
Yeah.
Remember how to do that? Just hover over it, hold L1, and press and hold R2. Once the clone has been created, let go of L1, move it to the right spot, Then release R2 to place it down. When you clone an object, any gadgets attached to it will come along for the ride.
But the sound
So all
effect
you
didn't.
need to do now is to wire the trigger zone on the second platform to the sound effect. Or even better, grab a new sound effect from the collection.
No.
Just for variety.
No. Doesn't make sense.
It's up to you. Dream
Yeah.
shapers should always go with their instincts.
Yeah. You need to have...
Whatever you choose to
They
do,
look the
move
same,
on
so
to
they
the
should make
next
the same
step when
sound
you're ready.
effect. That's what Miyamoto would say.
All right, there's just one more gap for Connie to cross before she reaches the door. That pink cylinder would make a great stepping stone for her, but it's all the way down in the water. If you take a closer look at it, you'll see there's a trigger zone and a movement sensor
Hey,
on
I'm
it.
learning how to... I'm
They're not
learning
connected to
how to use
anything
sounds
right now.
here, not movements.
There's also a keyframe on the platform. I wonder what that does. Try selecting it with X to find out.
What? You can keyframe? Of course you
Just as I thought. It raises
Holy
the cylinder
shit.
so Connie can use it to cross over. Press the circle button to deselect the keyframe. Looks like all we need to do is connect the cylinder's trigger zone to the keyframe.
How many
so it moves up
keyframes
when
can
she
there
gets
be?
close.
And how do they
And
visually
while we're doing
represent
that, why not
keyframes?
add a
Do they
sound
do
effect
onion
to it as
skinning?
well? Let's jump back into the sound effects collection
I
and
guess
see
I
if
should
there's
take
anything
the
appropriate
animation
in there.
tutorial.
Down here, we've got some mechanical sound effect loops. These are the perfect sound effects for any sort of machinery in a scene.
Eh.
We want something that would go well with a raising platform. I think I'll go for the heavy metal ratchet loop. That sounds good, right? Okay, now select the sound effect of your choice and stamp it near the pink cylinder with R2 or X. In the next step, I'll show you how to connect all of the gadgets.
Okay.
Now we just need to do a little bit of wiring to get everything working. Remember, the trigger zone will activate when it detects Connie, triggering the keyframe to raise the platform. Grab the detected output from the trigger zone with R2 or X. Then stretch the wire to the keyframe gadget and connect it to its power port with R2 or X. Now let's get the sound effect working. This will be triggered by the movement sensor. The movement sensor detects when the object it's attached to is moving. So when the platform starts rising, the movement sensor will send a signal from its output port. That's the output port on the right side of the movement sensor gadget. It's called velocity overall. Press R2 or X over the port to create a wire. You'll need to connect the other end of the wire to the sound effects power port.
Where'd the fucking sound effect? Oh, there it is.
Once that's done, switch over to play mode to test everything out.
I think I didn't hook my shit up right. Let's see. I want this trigger zone to trigger the keyframe, which triggers the keyframe, the movement. Is that all I had to do? Because I never took the animation tutorial, and I also didn't pay attention when he just talked. So there, it worked. I know how to program. Well, I missed the last bit of the thing, though. Let him talk to me. Hey, how you doing, pal?
so much better. That sound effect really makes a big difference. There's even more you can do to
SK
bring this
thinks
scene
that
to
this
life.
is too much for kids. I'd say you're underestimating
See if
kids.
you can add some sound to the water between the platforms. I think there might be some water sounds in the tutorial collection.
I don't wanna.
Experiment with the different effects as much as you like and see what you can come up with.
I think the
When you're
key...
done, just take Connie through the door in play mode to finish this tutorial.
Obviously, there are better tools out there for making games that can make more robust and more customizable games. But this is fun. They've created an environment that is immediately approachable and engaging, fun and understandable without getting into code. For one, I'd say for like potential future developers, this is going to like spark the imagination and want them to get into more involved, make their own game in something that allows them to get right into the code. But I think that there is a completely legitimate and target demo for this that, like me, I don't want to code my own game, but I wouldn't mind being able to remix assets, especially those created by other people, tweak some things. I'm a tweaker more than I am a developer. And I think that that's what this is for these people who are like, have these ideas they want to put out there, but there are no tools for the casual type of storytelling. Like, that's why the only game I ever made was an RPG Maker. That is not a development tool. That's not a developer's tool. That's just a thing that has a set preset of rules, triggers, and actions that you can like make your own story with. It certainly has limitations, but you work within those limitations. In the case of RPG Maker, those limitations happen to be the context of the predetermined format that we've all come to love, and that's the JRPG format. Like, we already know those limits. We know how it all works, and like top down pixels, left, right, up, down, and talk to NPC, get thing. Like, that genre has been set in stone, so RPG Maker thrives within that sort of like genre. They've created a tool just to make that. This has created a tool that like can go well beyond that, yet does still have limitations. But I think creativity, especially with people like me, thrives more with limitations. In fact, I'd say this could be a little bit more limited for me to be like get my head around it. But Undertale was made in RPG Maker? I don't think it was. I think it was made in Game Maker, which is slightly more robust. It's Game Maker Studio is kind of like RPG Maker in that it has a lot of like ready-made assets that you can get in and get going. It's kind of like a WYSIWYG, I think. I never used it, but I think it's kind of like drag and drop, but then you can get deep into the code if you need to or want to. An approachable type of thing, like... Yeah, like it allows more, like... RPG Maker has had some commercial releases as well, however. There was this one game on the PlayStation Vita that had an RPG Maker game that was like you're in a high school and like there's a murder or like it's horror based. I forget what it was called. But I think there was a couple commercial releases of RPG Maker. Obviously, this game won't let you have any commercial releases because it all remains in here. You're not going to be porting this game out. But it's kind of like I would say that the best thing that you could like regard this game as is kind of like a sketch pad for ideas if you did want to make something more robust. Who knows? Like we could see some games developed in this that end up becoming full-fledged games after they get a big audience and being like, holy shit, you've come up with something incredible here. You got to make this into a full-fledged game. However, there are some things that you can get out of here. The thing that I'm most that I think is going to be most valuable is the sculpting tools. I I haven't looked into it in a while, but I'm not sure that there's a lot of tools available right now to sculptors to sculpt in 3D modeling with move controllers, like with two different tools. Like, is there anything that lets you sculpt with the Vive controllers at this point? And are they popular? My point being that this is like a pretty powerful tool. I haven't jumped into the sculpting yet, but I've heard about it. And the fact that you can export, I don't know if this is available, this feature is available right now, exporting in OBJ format allows you to actually create real assets that you could go and use somewhere else in a game of your own making, or an animation or something like that. Lisa games were RPG Maker? Really? Oh, there you go. I didn't know RPG Maker was so robust to make a Lisa game, because I thought that was pretty... We ought to go back and play Lisa. Especially since he put us into the game there. We had I remember the first time we jumped into it, we had trouble with some things, technically. We played it for a while, but then I remember when we were playing it, we had a whole bunch of releases coming out, and it kind of just fell by the wayside, and... we did watch the part where we're in the game on show and trailer, but we didn't play to the point where we saw ourselves. But it is kind of crazy that we ended up getting a cat named Lisa as well. Yeah, I think we'd like to go back to that. Alright, now it's time for the last thing of the day. I'm gonna learn to arrange music in Dreams. This is what I've been really interested in.
This tutorial is all about making music. Music can make your creations come alive, adding emotion and atmosphere. In Dreams, you can compose whole tracks from scratch and even make your own instruments. But you don't need to be a maestro to start making your
Look
own
at this
music.
fucking piece of shit
I'll show you
Cuthbert.
how to create an arrangement using ready-made music clips.
I want to see what
So let's
loops are
begin.
available. Loop packs are
To
expensive.
start making music, we need to switch over to sound mode. Right now, you're in assembly mode.
I'm in sound mode.
If you're ever unsure of what mode you're in, just hover over the icon in the top left corner to see your current mode and tool.
Fine.
Go to the assembly menu and open the modes menu with X.
Oh, you can see the controls
The
anytime. you want.
modes menu is where you access all the different creation modes. Each mode has its own set of tools and options. The button for sound mode has
Whoa.
a speaker symbol on it.
Enix says that Media Molecule has talked about their desire to eventually maybe let games made in Dreams to be published on the PlayStation Store as their own separate game, but they'd obviously need to work some stuff out for that. That would be insane. And then Media Molecule could take, like, obviously, like, a cut. Just like, what does an engine get these days? Like, what is Epic? I know that there's certain engines like Unreal Engine and Unity and stuff. Like, they charge. You have pricing tiers that you're allowed to choose from. Like, you can buy the engine outright, and it's usually a massive cost, like $100,000, and you just get to. You plop that money down, and then you get no matter as many sales as you want. But then there's like pricing structures where it's like it's free to develop with, but they will get a percentage of any sales you make of that game. I don't know what the percentage is, but like if it's 10, 20%, that would make sense for Media Molecule to make off of a game. Unreal is 5%. But yeah, like there you go. Like Media Molecule could take a cut, and that would be so cool. The reason, I need to just again say, like, I acknowledge that there's like better tools for making games out there, but again, this is fun. And two, it's a different way to make stuff, and like sometimes a creative just needs a different tool. Also, as I'm moving on to the iPad to edit right now, edit video. Awesome Video Games is being edited on an iPad right now because of my carpal tunnel, and I'm like slowly making my way through that, trying to figure out the best way to edit, put things together, and but I'm loving the iPad as a creative tool, and this just is just a different way to create to me. I like it. Not everything should be a keyboard and a monitor. Sometimes you could do stuff on a couch.
Select it with X. Now you have a new menu at the top of the screen. This is the sound menu. It contains everything you need to make your own music. In the scene, you'll see a timeline gadget. In the next step, I'll show you how to edit it. Music in Dreams is arranged in timelines. This timeline contains a version of the music you heard at the start of this tutorial. To see what's inside it, we need to open its canvas. Hover your imp over the timeline, hold L1 and press X to open it. It's just like scoping into a group. This is the timeline canvas. The canvas exists within scene space, so if you pull down on the left stick, you'll back away from it. Hold the L1 button and use the left stick to move up and down the timeline. This is the best way to navigate around timelines, especially when they're big.
How do you snap your
This piece
camera
of music is
to,
called Connie's
like,
theme.
if I want to just
To listen to it, just start time by clicking R3.
snap your camera to the grid?
See how the piece is composed of many music clips. The clips power on and off as the playhead passes over them. Click R3 again to pause time. Each music clip is a collection of notes made by an instrument. You can grab them and move them around with your imp. If you want to delete a music clip, hover over it and press the triangle button. Clips can also be cloned by holding L1 when you grab them. You can extend the timeline by hovering over one of its edges and holding X. The edge glows and an arrow icon appears. You can also extend the bottom if you need space for more clips. Once you've finished listening to the piece, click L3 to rewind time. You can find all sorts of different music by searching the Dreamiverse. To add music to one of your scenes, you could simply stamp a ready-made timeline, like this one. But in this tutorial, you'll learn how to assemble your own track from ready-made music clips. Move on to the next step and we'll get started.
I'm glad the tutorial sped up.
So, let's start making music. It's actually a lot easier than you might think. Close the timeline by selecting the cross button in the top right corner.
Can I press L1 and circle?
Or hover over it, hold L1 and press circle.
You're goddamn
to close
right.
it. Now delete the timeline by hovering over it with your imp and pressing triangle. Let's add a new music timeline to the scene. Press square to open the sound menu. Select the music timeline button in the menu, then stamp one in the scene with R2 or X. Press circle to unequip the timeline gadget from your imp.
Metronome.
Open up the timeline canvas with L1
Count
and
in.
X.
Oh my god, they have a count in
This timeline is empty, ready to be filled
to
with
help you
music.
prepare to play, because then you can perform.
The columns on the timeline represent musical bars. This timeline is 8 bars long. We'll need more space than that, so hover over the right edge and grab it with X.
This guy tells me what to do a lot.
Extend the timeline to 16 bars.
What was it at now?
Now, let's
16.
add a music clip to the timeline.
Okay.
Press square to open the sound menu. Find the search button and select it with X. Its icon is the magnifying glass.
Music clips.
When you search in sound mode, there are 4 options for finding different sounds. Select Search Music Clips with X. This is the Dreamiverse. Here you can find music made by other dream shapers. Well, usually you can, but for this tutorial, I've made a collection of elements for you to use. That's what this cluster is. Select it with X to open it.
Oops. Oops. I accidentally hit the wrong thing. How far was I into this tutorial?
In the next step, we'll build up the track with the bar
Probably not too far.
containing your select pit to your imp.
Okay.
I'm using the clip Nostalgia Bells. Your imp will now be holding a gadget containing your selected clip. If you hover over the timeline, the gadget should snap to the canvas and reveal the whole clip. Place the clip at the start of the timeline.
I would love to hear your
and
composed
stamp it
music,
with
Becky.
R2 or X. Clips on a timeline will snap to the bars and to other clips. This will help you line them up. Click R3 to listen to the timeline. In the next step, we'll build up the track with some more clips. Click L3 to rewind time.
Yeah, can you compose music on sheet? Can you do sheet music composition notation? Is that what you call it? Can you write those in and then have it like plot out on these, on this thingy? Oh wait, that opens the instrument, not the loop. I don't know what I'm doing. How do you open this? Anyways, I guess I'll learn next. You can do piano
Let's
roll,
build
but
on
not
the melody
notation.
by adding some chords. Go to the sound menu and select Search Music Clips again. Over here are some chord clips. Hover over the clips to preview them, then select one with X.
Ooh, that's nice.
I'm going with Suspended Pad, but
don't
you
care
can
what you're
make
going
your own
with.
choice.
Oops.
Stamp your clip onto a new row of the timeline and snap it to the start. Click R3 to listen and notice how the clips play together in time. Click L3 to rewind. Now let's add some drums. Go back to the sound menu and
That sounds
select
horrible.
Search Music Clips. Find the drum clips
Deleting
in the
the-
collection.
There we go.
A drum beat can really change the feel of a track. I love these samba practice drums. Pick a drum clip you like, then stamp it onto the timeline under the melody and chords. Now click R3 to listen to how it sounds. All the clips in the collection are in the same time and key, so you can mix and match them easily.
Yeah,
L3
so
to rewind.
timing and key for mixing and matching
In the
in
next
this
step,
particular case,
I'll show
like,
you how to edit the length of your clips
Will-
and how to add fades.
for community-made clips and the ones outside of this tutorial, will they all be marked and searchable within the, I don't know what to call it, the community library? Will they be searchable by their key and bars? The Dreamiverse, yeah. All right, let's go next. And I wonder if the key can be transposed anyways.
You'll see dotted lines light up at the start and at the end of the clip.
Like the key, if it's on a piano roll and these are instruments, it's not a trouble to transpose. I guess the main concern would be like, maybe can you search with chords to be in the, or in the note, or in the key? No, keys can't be transposed, notes can. I don't understand. Anyways.
Move closer to the timeline so you can see them properly. These are trim handles. We can use them to change the length of a clip. Hover over the handle on the end of the drum clip, then hold R2 to grab it. These clips are loops, so you can extend the clip beyond its original length. All the clips in the collection can be extended in this way.
Cool. Can I stretch the time?
Trim handles are really useful for arranging and remixing. They let you use just a section of a clip without having to edit the music notes inside. On top of the trim handle, you'll see a little coloured gizmo. Move in closer to see it properly. This is a fade handle. You can use it to fade the volume of a clip in or out.
What?
It works just like the trim handle. Grab the
my
gizmo
God,
with
they make
R2 and
They're
move your
UI
imp
masters,
left or
man.
right
This
to
is so
create a
nice. I've been experimenting with a
Try
lot of
adding a fade
iPad
out on the
music
chord
creation
clip
apps,
so
and
it
it's
drops off
amazing how
gradually.
many of them like leave out a feature. And you'll try another one that has that feature, but they left out some
Drag
other
it out
feature.
further for a longer fade.
Thank you.
Now click R3 to run time. Doesn't that sound cool? You may have noticed that the music stops as soon as the playhead reaches the end of the timeline.
Yeah, that's why that's happening.
In the next step, I'll show you how to make your timeline loop. Now click
Why isn't time
L3 to
going?
rewind.
What did I do? I fucked something up again. My music don't work. I didn't ever. Well, I used Logic X for a very short period. Most of my music creation was on FL Studio. Fruity Loops back in the day.
To make the track play constantly in the scene, we need to set the timeline to loop. We can do this in the Timelines
thank you.
Tweak menu. Hover over a blank area of the timeline, hold L1 and press square to open its tweak menu.
Ooh, tweaking. Restart timeline.
In
On
here,
end
we can
trigger.
change the timeline settings.
On end trigger.
Find the playback mode section. There are 3 options.
So this is how they
Once
did the
means
creation
timeline
of
will
Guitar
play
Hero
once
by
all the
using
way
playhead
through when it's
position.
powered on.
Can control other elements
Sustain
within the
means
game.
the timeline will pause when it's powered off, then resume once it's powered on. Loop means the timeline will play repeatedly while it's powered on. Hover over the loop icon and press X to change the playback mode.
Ooh, I can change the color to something nicer. There we go.
You can also change the playback
Well, I want
speed in the
dark.
tweak menu. Hover over the playback speed slider and hold X to grab it. Now move your imp to the left or right to adjust the value.
That ain't dark.
Click R3 to hear your adjustments live.
Yeah, I'm good. Meter numerator.
You can also adjust the slider by hovering over
Set the
it
meter
and pressing
numerator
the up or
bar to
down
the beats per
directional
bar you want to
buttons.
use. 4.
See how it sounds when it's slowed down
Wow.
or sped up a little.
4. What kind of monster would set an odd number?
To close the tweak menu, hover over it, hold L1 and press circle.
You can do
You can
quarter
also
notes,
tweak
eighth
music
notes,
clips to make them
16th
loop.
notes.
Just
No
hover
time
over
signature.
them, hold L1 and press square to open their tweak menus.
How can you do no time signature? General A, music
You can also
A,
change
voice
their
A,
volume
character
and
A,
tempo.
background.
Be careful changing the tempo, as your clips could go out of time with the others.
These are channels. There's
We've
only...
made a cool piece of music, but you can carry on adding more clips if you want to.
Guys, obviously, do these...
Maybe you heard something in a tutorial collection that would sound awesome in your arrangement. Try trimming and looping tracks. See what you can come up with. If you need extra space, you can extend the timeline by grabbing the edges with X.
No time signature just must mean
All the
free
clips
for
we've
all,
used in
like
this
just
tutorial
place your shit
come from the
wherever.
Media
Probably
Molecule
mostly for
Music
like
collection.
placing.
The collection contains lots of music
like
clips
an
you can
arrangement of
use,
sound
as
effects
well
that
as
just
some
trigger at
complete
different
tracks.
times that the person wants.
Look for it in the Dreamiverse.
Not
Next
music
time you're making
necessarily.
music in sound mode. Once you've finished, switch over to play mode and listen to your track in the scene.
Yeah, it's okay. But
To
so
end
sound
the
channels.
tutorial,
Can you add
just
more
press
sound channels? Because
Options
it's weird
and
that there's
select the
only
Exit Creation
music A, voice A, character A. There's obviously, you could probably have like tons of sound channels, right? To have this send to. So that's the end of the tutorial for music. So they don't teach you a lot. I feel like there's a lot more robust stuff going on here than what they just taught me. How do I finish this tutorial? I forgot. I have to trigger the ending of the
You've
tutorial
finished.
to...
Switch over to play mode and listen to your
Okay.
track in the scene. To end the tutorial, just press Option.
Okay, and exit creation. There we go. Huh. They plan to add more? Okay, because that felt like it didn't teach too much when it came to music creation compared to what I can see the tools are capable of. Okay, so let me just jump in. I just want to like maybe... see what music is there, instruments. So you can create an instrument. How does that work? What? How does this go? How does an instrument work versus... I don't understand. I went into the instrument, but it shows nothing because it's not a thing. It's not a level, right? It's just a tool. Press remix to view. Oh, that's why. That'll confuse some people maybe. But, okay, so here's an instrument. So an instrument is just an arrangement of sound effects placed on... So this just is kind of like a quick way to be able to... It's basically a kit. An instrument's a kit kind of loops, or... It looks like effects or variables. Yes, it's variables. Sustain, changing that. So, okay, how do I play with this instrument? Do I have to add it to a timeline, probably? I just kind of wanted to jam. You can click on it? Oh, like... Well, wait. Should I... So if you play, it doesn't... You want to edit. And then... You think it's a button along the top? Like... Modes, tools. Top of the window? What? Like... Oh, piano roll view. So here's how you'd toss in notes if you, I guess. Slice mapper view. Oh my god. This is how they did it. You could do anything. They took a slice playing in C2, sliced it up, and then arranged it to a piano roll so that it's an instrument. So you could do this with a voice, with anything, once you import the sounds. Oh, and here, freeform view is how to just play. I'm not sure exactly how everything works yet. Need more tutorials. Wait, what was that appeared as I went up to the somehow middle? What's this? Middle octave. Oh, also things just appeared over. What notes are appearing? See that? Oh, the controller. I was just pressing X over and over. It seems that the notes that they've chosen to give you all sound good together. So they've, I think you can bend it. As if. What's splice? I don't understand how they sold this for $40. It's ridiculous to me. Music snap 116. It'll snap the notes as you perform. So if you're off a little bit, you can snap it to the bars, I think is the thing. So like if you're off a little bit in your timing, it'll create perfectly, like it'll snap to the nearest bar. Yes, Reds is being super cute. I don't know how to change that option because I don't see how to hit that, but I just need more. This is just insane. Okay, what other instruments are there? I'm just exploring, just figuring it out, tinkering. I need to reiterate how much this type of shit costs. Like the buying instruments and arrangements, like arranged sliced instruments like this, kits, sound effects packs, how expensive these are. One of the things they're gonna have a trouble with too, if they ever wanted to make user created games and make them available in the PlayStation Store, is there would be no doubt, if a game got really popular, some user who said, look, I created this asset that he used, I demand some of the money, or something like that, saying, like, how did that all work too? The best way to play with multiple instruments is go to music creation, pulling up the instruments on a timeline. Hey, dream vocals, there you go. That's exactly what I was talking about. Well, this is completely different. They've coded it in here to each sound. So these are the individual sounds. This is up. That's a great pack right there. That would be $5. That's what the price of samples is. Professionally produced samples. Okay. Continue to be blown away. There's a Media Molecule song made with those. Yeah, I bet. I'm just gonna keep. So this is by a user. Cool instruments list. Search through the most of the instruments from the community. These were the ones I liked. So this is a guy who's created a curated, and he created like little groups of all his favorite instruments. So you can curate stuff. So far, it's mostly Media Molecule stuff that he arranged here. So here's a user-created one that's really avant-garde. Let me go to Remix here to see it. Whoa, so what did he do here? I like seeing it in this view to see kind of like how it all is being created. What? So what he's set in the top right is a distort modifier, and the top left is what? Oh, that's how it's happening. That's why I saw that high octave, middle, low. Cool. So that's, I wonder where like he brought in these sounds, how he brought in those sounds, because those were like crisp. I know that they were distorted by their nature, but that was high quality samples that he used. He must have brought it in by piping it in through a USB audio interface and then slicing it up. So we could put in a 8-bit pulse wave. Nice. Huh? It's just, and they can customize it to look neat and stuff, and It's like a fart. So this is all it is. It's just one sample. Because it's a pulse wave. That's all he had to import was a pulse wave, and then he added, I guess that's all he did. I guess it's like, you can call it 8-bit, but really it's just a pulse wave. Well, it's literally 8-bit though. Yeah, that's why. He doesn't mean 8-bit games, he means it's an 8-bit stair-step pulse wave. Needs more bits. Well, then it wouldn't sound as crunchy. These are collections. Microcomputer Kit by Media Molecule. Let's see what their official stuff looks like here for a microcomputer kit. Has Media Molecule stated that things created in here are royalty free, such as if I make a song in here, record it, release it on SoundCloud, Bandcamp? Like I know that they would never go sue a creator, but like, have they explicitly stated that sounds taken from their official kits by Media Molecule are royalty free, such as that girl's voice? So just want to play with it. Okay. Huh. Yeah, they would prohibit the selling of the sound, but I would imagine they would probably let people make music with it. Hard to stop people, honestly, because fair use argument. If you remix, it's remix culture, which is what this game is designed from the beginning, and they know it. That's why I love Media Molecule. Like that's my last point on this is the fact that they have, like, the community and this whole, like, this is just getting started. There's going to be such a wealth of content in here to draw from and remix. Every time that I've gotten invested in like a sound app, like a music creation app on the iPad, you're always relegated to this little subset of loops that they have or that they sell within the app. And most of the good ones you can import, but you got to go buy them elsewhere, upload them to Dropbox or something, import them, make sure that you keep them all like sorted by key and, you know, time signature and stuff, so whatever, just to make sure that they work well together. But like, this feels like it has the potential to have just like plug and play, dropping all kinds of sounds and organized by I hope key and chord, etc. That's the hardest thing when you're not very well versed in music theory, is making things sound good together when you're just fucking around with shit. I've been finding some cool apps on the iPad that do that too, that are dedicated to giving you notes that work well together to make songs. Well, there's a lot of stuff here. Look how much stuff Media Molecule added by itself. I'm still not even out of the Media Molecule stuff yet. There's bagpipes. Wow. So this is just the official stuff, and I'm just assessing this. Like, I'm looking at what they've provided here, just kind of like, I'm gonna ballpark it. I haven't gotten to the end yet, but I'm gonna say like, there's like $1,000 worth of shit here. If you were buying this in the old days, instruments, I'd go beyond that maybe. Like, this is... What? What's KK Howl? Bobby's whistle. You think it was KK Slider? I had a feeling, yeah. Whoa. I could do this forever, just looking at the possibilities. I wanna search vocals, see how many because vocal packs, those are the things that are really hard to find. Good vocal packs that fit your mood, the mood that you're looking for. Vocal slices. So you got stream vocals. He took the song Blue and then what, remixed it? Or I mean like rearranged. It's just a single little sample he's taken and he's yeah. Just okay. In case you wanted I'm Blue in your... This is where it's going to get really sticky for them. Like, they're going to have a team dedicated to copyright. All they have to show is that they tried and that they have a way to report. And then they can't really get in trouble because, oh, wait, until the laws go forward. And they're a UK-based company. As soon as the laws go forward in the UK, it will be up to them to put in place measures that auto-detect and delete effectively delete anything based on a robot's opinion. I can't believe that fucking law. Otherwise, they could get in trouble. Like, it should be enough for a platform such as this, or YouTube, or Twitch, to just say that if a copyright owner finds it, they can report it and we'll take it down.
My name Jeff. My name Jeff.
Awesome. Also, there's gonna be people who just like maybe upload just horrible things, like saying horrible shit into here too. Oh man, I don't envy them. This is by the user Monkey's Thumb, and it's called Monkey's Thumb Instruments. This guy. So Monkey's Thumb. Okay. That's horrible. All right. Oh God. I'm just kind of, I guess, just in general, just kind of breezing through the elements. What you just painted that. Okay. Oh my god. Here's another thing that's a benefit of this over like more serious tools, more like traditional tools on a computer. One of the things that gets me the most and that stops me from being creative immediately in the process is when I have to do file management in order to continue my process. And during the process, making sure that I keep things under control so I don't get to the point where I just get overwhelmed by files being scattered all over the place. Especially when you're jumping between programs, like you jump into Photoshop to like, you know, create an asset, a PNG file to bring back over to Macromedia Flash so that you can animate it, and then you like are exporting those as movies, and you got like you're making music over here and bringing it in waves from other places, and it's all scattered and your project is all over the place. This is all organized for you. The file management in this one self-contained box for all of your assets are always going to be organized for you. So these are just, so can you take if these are animations, can you take the rigged characters and apply them to your own characters? Like if there's a default humanoid and somebody has taken him and made him rock out, can I, if I have this other humanoid, can I take the rig and apply it to my model to make my guy, like I created Sonic the Hedgehog and I want him to do that. Can I take this animation and apply it to Sonic? Oh my goodness. So they've got rigging. They've got animation. Can you apply it to a different rig? Can you somehow, does it know how to like interpret that? That would be crazy, but like, or there must be like default rigs they've set up in the game. A talking head. So you can make more robust characters than what we've seen with Pig Detective and stuff.
Hey, I am trying to set this puppet head so that it automatically moves its mouth when I talk.
How?
Check it out. Hey,
How did he do that?
to set this puppet head so that it automatically moves its mouth when I talk. Check it out.
How did he program a head to move its mouth as he talks? Can you have a waveform detector? Can you create, is there a gadget that is a waveform detector that can send signals based on the wave? Possession recorder. Oh, it's like a pre-made thing that they... Oh my god. Loudness of the sound. Yeah, but it must like read the... There's a module for that. Somebody animated Terraria bunny. Okay, alright. Effects, dreams, linked scenes, sound effects, music. So I want to hear some songs people have made. Are there any good ones in here? Well, once again, I want to search for lo-fi because that's my jam. So these days. And there's only a few right now. Yeah. People have different definitions. That's chill, but... That's the closest, but it's still not really. Oops. How about Has anybody sang into this yet? Huh. Uh-oh, I'm gonna get, probably shouldn't choose this one if I want this stream not to get flagged. But I want to know how he added vocals. Oh, there's Lime Green Tanky. That's one of our turbos. Is this a third? Is this probably, oh, I know that song. I didn't know that was the name. Oh, yeah. Obviously. Does this game have a vocoder? Can you type in music or lyrics and then have a vocoded voice speak it? Does it have a vocal synth, I guess, and then can it vocode after that, which is where you add an instrument to modulate the voice in order to make a singing voice. Maybe I'm asking for too much at this point. I don't know what else to do. Like, I guess I just want to... So to create a new thing, you have to go into browse first, or you go into... You go into Dream Surfing Community Jam, Dream Shaping, and then you have to click... Oh, I leveled up again. You have to go to Browse, Create, and then you have to select a category before you start creating. You can't just start creating not knowing. Like, you can't start creating something that might be a level for a game, but also could be potentially, like, or it might be a painting at first, but then you want to make it into a game. Like, it's kind of odd that you have to choose the genre of what you're about to start doing first, and then start fresh. Go back, your create, what? Oh, start, well, this is for music. My creations, yeah, you can go in here. Oh, okay. But you still kind of have to start with, I guess these are just templates to get started. Let me see if I can figure out how to sculpt. Obviously, I'm gonna, oh, they did this. Awesome. Okay. Okay. You grab like tools, sphere. I mean, I didn't even try and it just happened. It just kind of happened. This is janky. How do I make it bigger? There we go. Nice and... How many people have just been waiting? Well, now that it's out of the way, we can all concentrate now. Now that it's done. Giant balls, and it's just kind of stubby. So, like, it's not my fault that it started with skin color. I'm gonna get in trouble on Twitch. Twitch is very prudish these days. I love the sound. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's really subtle. It's like... little bit laggy. This is the first time where I've seen a tool kind of like not perfect. Like there's a little bit of... This is where shit gets really crazy, because how do they manage the number of vertices in order for it to stay within system resources? And why does it say -2 still? Like, how am I not like starting to go beyond the available system resources? Or like, how am I... How do you see those system resources? The triangle. Okay, it's at 27%. I wonder how many vertices are there. Oh, and it automatically... How did I switch to delete? It's like using delete tool to... Oh my god, this is amazing. Oh, you could do some really good sculpting. I can't wait to see what the community does. And so, okay, so can I make a thing and then I can rig it? So I could create like a face and then I could rig its lips. And then could I create visemes, which is a word for... I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right because I've only ever read it when I did like animation. It's basically like ooh, ee, ah, ooh, like these are like preset keyframes that that animators use to create a talking character, and then they just tween all of those, blend together. So somebody could in the community create a set of visemes and then apply them to a rig of a face and make any face talk the same way by sequentially arranging those on a timeline to match dialogue. Well, we have to leave something for another day, guys, so I'm going to do the sculpting tutorial another day. For now, I'm just kind of like janking around with it. What other tools do you have here? Torus. They call it a donut. How do I get back to adding? Oh, add and subtract. There you go. Donut country. Look at my beautiful thing. That's amazing. Oh, that's what's happening. Okay, this is neat. Okay, check it out. I know what they're doing. It's every so often you'll see it down at the bottom left. It'll say like -8 or something. Plus 3%. Plus 2%, but every so often it'll be -%, and I think that's because what it's doing is it's optimizing the vertices. It's like I forget what the technical term is for it. They're like it's remeshing. It's remeshing the model so that it can be more use less vertices for what it's. So it's just using some sort of this is insanely powerful what they've built. Any one of these would be worth $100. Any one of these tools, the music, the sculpting. I haven't tried the painting yet, but the level creation, the logic, like... Oh, you guys want a different color? So can I use... The color's really unsettling. It's just a skin sculpture of donuts. This isn't my fault. You can use X plus R2 to smear. R2. Wait. Oh. Smear. Oh, that's what I've been doing, is smearing. Now it's rotating automatically. I don't even know how Oh, you can send it to like just... Oh, that's amazing. I've never heard of them to pronounce that way, Steve. I just know visemes. V-I-S-C-I-M-E-S. And then there's a separate tool to see what's more complicated in your scene by color coding it, and then you can reduce the detail per object. That is ridiculous. Pure mixed. Pure mixed. I'm just making shit up. I'm just tinkering here because sometimes it's fun just to fool around and not know what you're doing and to see what happens. That's part of what's fun with like creative tools that are fun to play with. Okay, got colors, flex. Okay. Oh, these are for painting? I don't know how you paint. I probably have to choose a painting tool. I thought I did, but curves. Whoa, that's creepy. What have you been eating? Guides, flex, show hide, shapes, add subtract, tools, clone, stretch, move, stamp shape, smear shape. So I'm on smear mode. Okay, that's why it's been doing spray paint, looseness. Looseness. The looseness tool. I don't know how the looseness tool works. Try looseness. With looseness, the flex stand up. Oh, has there been flex this whole time? There have been. Oh yeah, you need like a different tool for this though, like the move would just make a lot more sense doing this for depth perception and whatnot. I don't see any looseness happening here. Wow. Guys, cut out. Wow. Brilliant. I don't know how it works, but I bet when you know how to make it works well. I don't know what I'm doing though. All I know is I'm reducing system resources, I think. It's such early days. It's going to be incredible to see the early access stuff. Oh, finishes. Oh, here we go. You can change it to plastic, shiny, rough, metal, wax. Can you do translucency? That seems to actually add a little bit of translucency. Or like subsurface feel to it. I have to change my tool. I want to get off looseness. Let's go to the smear tool again. And I'm moving stuff around. Yeah, I can even see through a little bit in this guy, I think. You can do translucency. Wow. Yeah, so there's a little bit of lag with the manipulation of some of this stuff. It's not super fluid, which I can imagine. I feel like doing that with the move, like it's okay with the controller, but if like you're using the move, I would imagine it being really awkward trying to move stuff if it's not fluid. That would be bothersome. Alright, I'll do the tutorial sometime. What else is, and then there's painting mode. No, I'll be back to Dreams. I'm gonna do all the tutorials, and then I want to try to like make a simple game, or like, I don't know. At the very least, I want to look at some of your guys' best shit that you make. Oh yeah, I wanted to look at loops. I guess I want to exit that then. Music. Alright, and then, so to put in a loop, you need to go up and search for music clips, is what they call them. Somebody made the Westminster chimes. 8 o'clock. What if I'm looking for not music, I'm looking for loops? Oh, I guess I go by tags, right? Instead. Phrases and loops. Somebody put this. And obviously your loops can, like, these will be loops arranged on a piano roll, and then you can apply a different instrument to those loops, right? Like if I grab a melody, if I grab this, toss it in, can I then change the instrument producing the music? I don't know how deep I'm gonna get into this, guys, honestly. I have so many things on my plate, but I'm just so intrigued to explore it. I'm really loving seeing it, how it works, and thinking of the potential that people have to make stuff with this. And at the very least, we're gonna come in and play stuff. Like, I know people are gonna create tons of party games. One of the funnest things to do would be to like work on, maybe as a community we should like do game jam where we create our own WarioWare style game, like mini games that must be completed in a certain amount of time. Like we'll come up with like an arbitrary time. I don't know what WarioWare's countdown was, but it was always very quick. Maybe it was like, were they 10-second games or were they 5-second games? And it would follow a set of rules, and that way we could link them all together. Link all of the mini games together. So if I open up the expressive piano melody, it shows me what? The piano roll view, and here's the piano roll, okay. So what if I want... Is this like... What is this right here? This is like a graphical representation of the inflections put onto the notes, or when the person played it? Like, that's their performance, isn't it? Oh my god, it is. That's brilliant. So with this particular instrument, it doesn't really matter, I think, the way you move. Oh yeah, it does, because a little bit. That's the sustain pedal, basically, by dragging over there as you play a note. I don't know what that is. Is that what they call tremolo? So I hit record. And then I can play back my terrible creation, kind of. I don't even know how I did that again. Look at the whole thing. Oh, there we go. Where's my part that I added? Oh, did I? Oh, I think I know what I had to do. Okay. No, I know how. Gotta rewind it. Press record, and then there, now my stuff has been added. All the stuff that I did is on the bottom. You can see it. And I added kind of like a... I got on beat after a few hits. And the beats are represented by these ghost planes. Or the bars are beats, bars. This is wild. The tools matter so much, like to how some, there's music creation apps are often, somebody mentioned, I think, Logic in there. Logic's not bad. Fruity Loops has always been kind of also okay, but not bad. There are some just abysmal places that you can create music on the PC. Some of the more popular ones, like Pro Tools, that you just look at it and all creativity just drops from your body. You're like, it's like, it feels like doing music on a fucking spreadsheet. And then you've got this. This is where people, like, someone who composes music is going to thrive in this. Like, I mean, there's going to be those out there, like, Mozart was a friggin' nut who would think this was ridiculous because he just had the music and he put it, basically, I guess, notational form of music is a spreadsheet, right? Music in a spreadsheet form, almost. This is cool because you can compose a melody by playing just one part, then add another part, and record it over and over and just keep on adding parts as though you had unlimited fingers. All right. My question's not answered still, though. Can I change this? It's a piano. Can I swap the instrument to a different one and still have the same playing in there? I know that each instrument has different things that they've applied to the pad, but if there's some standardization between the instruments, potentially one, I could have like an organ swapped out for this piano if I just clicked a thing. I don't know where I could do that though. Wow, okay. You can copy the notes to another instrument. So I guess you'd have to like lay down the instrument first. You just like maybe go choose a different instrument, like search instruments. Let's go grab. Wow, really? Listen to this. Okay. So how do I copy them? Go in here, go to the piano roll view maybe. Okay, and now select them all. With what would I do to select them all? Oh, is there a way to like select all instead of doing this? There's got to be a better way, but this is all the only way I know right now. And I've almost got them all. I see deselect all. I just never saw select all. Snap notes. Okay, no. Okay, now how do I copy? The icon on the side? Okay. How do I copy them all? Select, nudge, move, clone, L1. Okay, but that would just drag them within here. Anybody know how to copy these? Because somebody said you can copy these to a different instrument. They've no doubt probably added a really easy way to do this. You saw it done from a window displaying the 2 tracks, not from the okay. Alright, I might be able to do that. Oops. No, I want to be in sound mode. I think I can get both tracks showing at the same time. Can I go like this and then show? I just have to get back. I don't know how to do this. I guess I could like. There we go. Holy shit. Yeah, okay. Now. L1, R2. Okay, wait. I need to go into piano roll. You can't drag from one to the other. And it doesn't matter because the 2 standards are different. Like this is using a piano roll, this is using this arrangement. You place the new instrument on top of the old one? Okay, alright, thank you, Shadow Chat. Okay, so maybe if I drag it, replace. Holy shit, that's all you had to do. Okay. Now, so it's clear that the setup of the instrument, piano roll wise, doesn't really fit what was played on the piano, because you see these notes here. It doesn't match, but the fact that they let you do that is amazing. And some instruments it will match. It depends on, I guess, the templates that they use. Because this, I mix and match 2 different templates. It seems that there's the template of piano roll putting a sound every like note on the roll versus putting it to 8 different pads, and I chose one that uses 8 pads as opposed to the piano roll. So you could then edit it to like fix it up, but also I think that there will be instruments where that just works seamlessly. Here, I'm gonna like, I'm gonna grab like fucking searching instruments, and I'll go grab yeah, we'll go to keys. We'll like, you know, in the same. Yeah, I want it to be an organ. So now it's an organ, that what I played on the piano. This should match a little bit better. Yeah, all right. Has a very different tone, but yeah, it worked. It is a much different tone than it was when it was played on the piano, but there you go. That's all you have to do. So I wonder how many different, like, yeah, okay. I can't believe how robust they were. It's like the entire team said, like, should we let them do that? And nobody ever said no. And sometimes that's a bad thing, because it ends up creating something that was too deep, or you get like the Photoshop bloatware feel where there's so many toggles and buttons that you're just overwhelmed. Like I am overwhelmed, but not in the way that I am when I open a program like, you know, Adobe Premiere to edit video, or After Effects, or Photoshop, Adobe programs basically, where they've added so many features and pro toggles and nodules that only 0.1% of people will use, but like for proof printing or some bullshit, like, but they have to put it in there because of this antiquated old like format or whatever. It's all in there and it's all in your face. So you're just constantly like, you're like, shit, do I need to make sure, oh shit, did I accidentally hit something? Why doesn't this work anymore? I must have hit a fucking checkpoint and a check mark and I shouldn't have, or something. Like, you're always wondering if like something's not working because of that, or like you're wondering whether I should read all of these options before I export my file, because like, do these options matter to me? I've never heard of that before. Let me spend an hour on Google seeing if it's relevant to my project and what I should be doing. So it's like, you know, that kind of thing. But they've made a deep program and kept it all perfectly nested within each level, what's relevant to you at the right moment contextually. It is amazing. I want their babies. I want to have their baby for them as a surrogate, as just a service to them, is how much I love them. This is, so that's drawing. All right. I have to stop now, though. It's 3 a.m. I want to be there, baby. Yeah, I went longer than I thought I would just playing around. This is fun. And it's like, I think what's really remarkable, and I can't wait to see, is what the community starts to add in terms of especially like loops. I want to see like vocalists get in here and add their vocals and stuff. Because you can tell like it's pretty bare right now, what's available. Beyond what Media Molecule added themselves compared to what it's going to be in the future. It's going to be incredible. Features, shorts, visual novels. Sit back and enjoy. Yeah, I'm just gonna real quick like just look at like a short, because we looked at a lot of games when Becky and I browsed, but I didn't see any like, you know, little shorts or anything, or like animations that are just, so you can go to collections, game scene, story scene, feature shorts, visuals, and then you can just say meet the molecules. So this is just something to watch as opposed to play. You need to go into dream surfing to do that. Well, I guess somebody recreated the media molecule offices, a fan of theirs. Somebody wants to get hired. Little Big Planet toys are sitting on the desk. He created it from the behind the scenes with Dreams PS4 at Media Molecule on YouTube. My first foray into like doing anything with games or even creating digitally, well, it would have been Mario Paint, but one of the first things was, all right, this is a bit shrill. I created my own school in Doom, a Doom level of my school, my elementary school when I was a kid. I think I've talked about that on the show before, how these days if you created your school in Doom, you wouldn't want the authorities to find out. So if you want, you just go to this is a winner of a game jam, or oh my god, they composed, they did cinematography. He's hitting me with his tail. That means he wants to be left alone. I'm sorry, buddy. A little slow paced. I don't know if there is a story to be told here, or if it's just gonna be like slow zooming around this cool island he made. Oh, cute. Nice reveal. What did you guys say was an insanely realistic metro thing? Yeah. Is it this? Rat City? Well, alright, I'm done because Becky's yelling at me. There's a lot of things here. Notices from people. I have people following me, but I don't even create anything. Oh, these are people, things that are happening to the creations that I follow. Alright guys, thanks for watching. See you later. Good, gotta go to sleep now and dream for real. Will I dream? Goodbye.